America's oldest baseball park, Rickwood Field, was opened for the Birmingham Barons in 1910 by industrialist and team owner Rick Woodward. It was home to the Birmingham Barons and later the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. All Negro League Hall of Famers have been registered as playing in this ballpark except one. Also, Major Leaguers, Hall of Famers. Everybody has played at historic Rickwood Field, and now, in 2025, it is the home of the SWAC Baseball Championships. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company live from the press box at historic Rickwood Field here in Birmingham, Alabama, to bring you Game 1 of the 2025 Southwestern Athletic Conference Baseball Tournament featuring the number 1 ranked Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the number 8 seed, the Texas Southern Tigers. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company. SID Bryce Reinowski joins me from the press box. Bryce, it's a different feel to this Wildcats team. It's a different stadium than the last couple of years. Everything about this tournament feels different. The big difference, the Wildcats come in as the favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a completely different look. You mentioned it. I think the one thing that we're fortunate that's a little bit consistent for a lot of guys on this team is the time we're playing. Coach mentioned it to us a little bit when we get to the conversation we had with him last night, but a lot of these players are used to playing bright and early, and it's bright and early for everybody. You know, you don't make any excuses about waking up early, getting ready to go, but it definitely has a different feel to it. This ball club, as we know, was built in many ways for Georgia Tech, right? To hit it out. Well, we'll get to it, but you're not going to be able to do that super easy in this ballpark. They're going to have to learn to win in a little bit of a different way than they might be used to. Fortunately, I think they've got the guns to do it.
Speaking of that interview with Coach Hernandez, let's hear it. I spoke to Coach Johnny Hernandez last night to get his thoughts on the All-SWAC tournament teams, SWAC awards, and today's game against Texas Southern. Here in Birmingham, Alabama, with Coach Johnny Hernandez. SWAC Coach of the Year, Johnny Hernandez, was awarded at the awards banquet earlier tonight. Let's talk about that first, Coach. SWAC Coach of the Year, how you feeling?
Feel good, man. I mean, humbled and honored for the award, but this isn't an individual award. This award is attributed to all the hard work that our coaching staff, Coach CatEye, Coach Allen, and Coach Sanchez have done, and the work that our student athletes and our baseball team has done throughout the course of the year for the last 8-9 months to get us to this situation. So, my name, has, it's on the award, but this is definitely a team award, and I don't take that lightly, and appreciative of everyone involved in that process to get selected, but also, again, this is a team award at the end of the day.
You had a chance to practice at Rickwood Field earlier today. Thoughts on the ballpark? It's very big outfield, very wide, deep power alleys, and it kind of plays against the build of your team, more of a power team, a home run hitting team. How are you going to have to adjust to play to the park?
Well, first of all, the playing surface is, is really good. Major League Baseball came in and they did the renovations to the field, and I thought the playing surface played true. But the thing is, the field, it actually played like Jackie. It really did. It played like the Jack. The wind was blowing out a little bit out to left, coming in from right. So there was, I guess we were comfortable today, when we had our workout for 50 minutes. But, at the end of the day, we can't worry about, how big the ballpark is or how small the ballpark is. We have to be able to execute offensively. We have to play clean defense, and we have to pitch.
You're seeing Texas Southern for the 4th time in a row, 3 times over the last weekend, and now here at the start of the tournament. What does that kind of familiarity with an opponent change about your game plan?
I don't think it changes anything. I mean, we just have to be able to get to the bullpen, as early as possible. And I think that this is like, every time we talk about what the keys are to the game the whole year, that's the same message. But it is. If we're able to get into the bullpen early in the game, it puts us in a really good spot. We have to be able to pitch. We have to defend. We have to, situational hitting's got to come through in the clutch moments when those opportunities arise. But I think the good thing about playing last weekend is we have an idea. We have familiarity with Texas Southern, what they do, what they can't do, what they're really good at. So we have to minimize, what they're really good at in order for us to come out on top.
Edwin Sanchez going to start the tournament for you guys tomorrow. How have you seen his role grow throughout the year from Sunday starter to now being kind of forced into your lead role through some injuries?
Oh, it's grown a ton. I mean, we said it earlier in the year, any one of those three, when they're healthy, you know, Boca, Cota, and Sanchez could be a Friday night guy in pretty much anywhere in our conference and maybe anywhere in the country. So he has definitely ran away with the opportunity of being the guy to lead the staff, you know, whether it's on Friday nights or Saturdays or, you know, tomorrow, right? Big game one of the conference tournament. So the utmost confidence. I know that the team has a ton of confidence when he's on the mound. And, I mean, for him, it's not letting the moment get too big. It's just continue to do what you've done all year and put us in a position to be successful.
What are you looking for from the offense this week?
I think it's just trying to get out the gate early. You know, we got to score early and often. You know, we got to score in bunches. You know, Texas Southern, as we saw this weekend, no lead outside of the second game of our series. You know, we had a 2-run lead on Thursday and blew that in the 8th inning. And, you know, things got interesting in the last game of the series for us to conclude the regular season to clinch the regular season title. But, you know, for us, we just have to score in bunches, and we have to be able to allow the pitcher to give us, you know, what he, you know, take what he gives us. So, you know, just excited about our guys.
Last one, Coach, 9 a.m. start. Haven't had one of these since the tournament last year. What's been the message to the guys to get them ready to get up early and go?
Listen, I think that actually plays to our benefit. And the reason why is because the bulk of the roster went through that last year. So it's not nothing new for those guys, you know, but it's an early wake-up call. It's 6 a.m. breakfast, and it's 6:30 departure. And if there's anything that, you know, you guys know, we don't put up excuses. You know, at the end of the day, we have to wake up. It's the same for both teams. And, you know, whoever decides to bring it on game one, that's who's going to come out on top. And we're looking forward to, you know, our guys do what they need to do tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
You got to hail Wildcats.
Here are your starting lineups for game number 1 of the SWAC tournament. First, for Texas Southern, they ended the regular season the 8th team in the SWAC, 15-15 in conference play, 22-30 overall. Leading off in center field, Kelton Phillips. Batting second at shortstop, Bryce Hughes. Batting third, the second baseman, Jaden Jones. Batting fourth in left field, Damian Garcia. Batting fifth at third base, Jaden Flores. Batting sixth in right field, Tyler Lejeune. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Evan Jubert. Batting eighth at first base, Jonathan Trejo. And batting ninth and catching, Eliza Rodriguez. In the bottom of the first, when the Tigers take the field, on the mound will be their ace, Calvin McClendon. Let's save the talk about Calvin McClendon for the bottom of the first inning. We'll get there, but this is a Texas Southern lineup that we saw be very effective against Wildcat pitching earlier this week.
And really, in a lot of ways, they profile a little bit better, I should say. Not necessarily more talented than this Wildcats lineup, but the way that they try to play is a little more productive to what you're going to get in this ballpark. And we know, we'll talk about it plenty. We talked about it throughout the season. If the Wildcats get into their kind of swing-happy, swing big mentality that they have at certain spurts throughout the year, they could get themselves into trouble. There's really only one spot in the ballpark that you look at that you think maybe you can hunt home runs, which is right by where the old manual scoreboard is. There's a little bit of a shorter wall out there. But you can't look at that and necessarily think you're going to fly everyone out of the ballpark. And Texas Southern's going to try to do the opposite. They're going to try to get on base, whether it's free passes, whether it's little easy singles, and then they're going to try to run. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a throwback mentality for this Wildcats team when it comes to that, a little bit more reminiscent of years past where they've tried to manufacture some things. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these teams try to manufacture some runs early. But it's going to be important for BCU to get into that mindset early and make sure you know it's coming from Texas Southern's side.
And for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, who finished on top of the SWAC, 24-5 in conference play, 33-21 overall, the best regular season for the Wildcats since the early 2000s. This team has shocked everybody by how well they've done, by how consistent they've been. They only lost one series throughout conference play, and it's time for them to show it. Here's the 9 that Coach Hernandez has sent out. Leading off in left field, Darrell Lee. Batting second at third base, Andre Martinez. Batting third at first base, Jorge Rodriguez. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, second baseman Jesus Venegas. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, Jose Fernandez. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Jeter Poyeto. Batting seventh, the catcher, Irvin Escobar. Batting eighth, the right fielder, Sergio Rivera. And batting ninth in center field, Daniel Figueroa. We were a bit shocked that they kept the same lineup that they played against Texas Southern this past weekend with Figueroa and Rivera and Lee in the outfield. But I think the outfield is so big here, you need your fastest guys out there, and that makes Andre Martinez come into the infield and play third base.
I also think there's something to be said about having a feel for what it means to play tournament baseball. And Figueroa and Rivera are two of your most veteran guys guys when it comes to that aspect. And having that extra little bit of experience, especially in game one, especially guys that are used to the early start, I think that only is an extra benefit. And, with Martinez at third, we saw him a little rough, very first play of the game last weekend, but he settled in really nice, and I think that we know what we're going to get out of him over at third, and I think it's more than what they need.
Here we go. We're just getting set for the national anthem. Introductions are going to be wrapped up shortly. Our main man, Mark, over there, handling the public address duties for the SWAC as usual. So we'll pause for the national anthem and be back for first pitch here on the CatEye Network.
At first base, Mr. Patrick Graham. At second, Mr. Robert Nunez. And at third base, Mr. Robert Knox Reyes. And now, at this time, we ask that everyone here at the historic Rickwood Field who's able to do so, please rise. Gentlemen, if you would kindly remove your hats as we now honor America with the playing of the national anthem. Thank you.
Hello to the booth cam here, returning for another SWAC playoff event here at Rickwood Field. Once again, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Michael Torillo. Bryce Wojnowski next to me, SID here. The Wildcats will be in their traditional start of weekend blue strip, the powder blue tops and bottoms, maroon numbers with a white trim, the BC interlocking logo on the chest in maroon trimmed with white and maroon hats. Texas Southern all in black as they were on Thursday last week. All black with white pinstripes, Tigers on the front in block letters and white trimmed in maroon, white numbers trimmed in maroon on the back. And in the two 9 a.m. games last year against Texas Southern and Prairie View, the Wildcats won those games a combined 32-5. And I think we want to see something similar as we start this tournament. Just put a statement of intent out there. We're the champs of the regular season. We're the number one seed. We deserve to be your favorite.
Yeah, and as much as we like to say a lot of times that the tone can be set on the mound, I think this is really an example of where I think, at least for me, I want the bats to set the tone today. I'm not saying you have to run rule them. I'm not saying it has to be 16-2 like it was a year ago against this team. But you need to come out and assert yourself, and I think you need to do it quickly. We kind of know what Sanchez is going to give you on the mound, and we know you've got backup behind him early on in this tournament, and everybody's fresh. One thing we do know about the approach this week is they are going for it when it comes to staying in that winner's bracket. They are not going to mess around with it. They are not going to throw off. They are not going to do any nonsense that would in any way jeopardize staying on this side of the bracket, because they've seen a few years going now how much more difficult it can get if you fall down below.
Standing into the batter's box is Kelton Phillips, and away we go here at Rickwood Field. Edwin Sanchez, the left-handed pitcher, was brilliant in his last regular season start against these Tigers. 7 innings, no runs, 6 hits, took the no decision because the Tigers came back and won it after he had left the mound. First pitch lefty to righty is a fastball strike, and we are underway. Sanchez's numbers on the year. He leads the SWAC in wins, 8-1, a 3.43 ERA, 13 appearances, all starts with a complete game. That's in the air to right center field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Second pitch of the game, and the first base runner for Texas Southern, who did threaten all 3 games in the first inning against us, scored in one of them.
And like we said, don't be surprised if Texas Southern starts to get active on the base paths early.
Their top 2 guys in the order are their top 2 base stealers. Kelton Phillips, 22 steals, and the man in the box right now, Bryce Hughes, 44 steals. And they'll check on Phillips as he gets back to first. Bryce Hughes, who hit an inside-the-park home run to kickstart the Texas Southern rally against Yo-Yo Diaz last Thursday in the first game of the series, squares to bunt, puts it down the first base line. Sanchez charging, throws to first. In time, barely. It was a low throw along the ground. Rodriguez at first has to pick it off the turf, but Kelton Phillips is advanced to second base.
Yeah, really lucky there. Really close one. If that's later in the game, I'm sure we would potentially see that go to replay. We know we do have replay available at the ballpark now. As much as we love to give our speech throughout the year, we don't have the benefit of replay. We do now. But obviously you're not going to burn that early. But that was really close. And again, Texas Southern active on the base paths.
And Bryce Hughes, one of the fastest guys in the conference. First pitch, a strike inside corner to right-hand hitter Jaden Jones, who's batting .357 on the year. 39 runs on 70 hits, 9 doubles, no triples, 4 homers, and 46 RBI. Runner on second, 1 out. Swing and a foul back. The backstop here at Rickwood Field is deep and wide. Not quite as deep as it is at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, but still pass balls and wild pitches. Very much a threat in this tournament where you know you can get some dubious pitching, especially later on. Ground ball chopped towards short. Fielding and throwing to third to get Kelton Phillips is Poyeto. Yeah, he almost looked like he wanted to tag Phillips out because he was running right by him when the ball was in his glove. Ended up flipping to Martinez to get the lead runner.
Well, you got the benefit there. The ball kind of came right at the runner, so I had to do a little bit of a stutter step to make sure it didn't hit him. And really nice communication between Martinez and Poyeto to kind of organize the rundown, if you will, there. A really heads-up play and a much better look at the rest of this inning.
It was a kind of half-hearted rundown attempt by Kelton Phillips.
Right.
He knew he was had.
Right.
But a smart heads-up play. Poyeto could have easily fired that to first as the first pitch to Damian Garcia is up and out. 2 away with Jaden Jones on first. When you talk about that left side of the infield on defense, with Martinez playing out of position, fastball strike outside corner 1-1. And Poyeto, the freshman, has been rocky defensively at times this year. That was very good communication and a very good play. Sanchez from the stretch. In the dirt, ball 2-1 on Garcia, who's hitting .358 on the year, 42 runs on 53 hits, 12 doubles, 5 triples, 14 home runs. That's a team high, and 58 RBI. Way outside with the fastball, 2-1. Correction, 3-1. And this is where the little things start to come up. We've heard Coach Hernandez be frustrated by the amount of walks that we gave to Texas Southern over the last series. Sanchez gets a swing and miss from Garcia at an up-and-out fastball, 3-2. But free base runners will kill you in a tournament like this. 3-2 chance to get out of the top of the first with Jones on first and 2 down. And the pitch. Inside and low, ball 4 was close, but a walk to Garcia keeps the inning alive. And now 2 on and 2 out.
And one of the biggest issues the Wildcats had over the weekend against Texas Southern, and some of it is a credit to Texas Southern staying alive, great defensive at-bats. I mean, we saw a ton of long at-bats with a lot of fouls off, but it was the put-away pitch. And Sanchez had more success at it than probably any other arm for the Wildcats over the weekend, but finding that put-away pitch, whether it's a swing and miss, something similar, has been kind of their Achilles heel last weekend.
Sanchez had the 8 strikeouts. First pitch ball outside to the right-hand hitting Jaden Flores. Flores, the freshman, batting .262, 47 runs on 43 hits, 9 doubles, 2 triples, 10 homers. Second on the team as he fouls one back to the screen on a fastball low and away. And it's 1-1. 42 RBI for Flores, and he's got a chance to put Texas Southern on top. 2 outs, top 1. Jones on second, Garcia on first after a fielder's choice and a walk. You saw how big the outfield played on that single by Phillips to begin the game. It was just a little bloop. Up and out with the fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike, and Edwin Sanchez may be struggling for a little bit of command early, and that's not great.
Well, you got to attack. I mean, you can't let it be self-inflicted.
2-1. Pitch on the way. He does attack and gets a swing and miss. Fastball inside corner. That was Texas Southern's Achilles heel over the weekend. Inside fastballs, they were hacking at him all weekend and mostly coming up empty.
Yep. I mean, usually it was a timing thing. Never really had it right. And they take big swings, big hacks. Some of the biggest we've seen all season.
Now 2-2. Another chance for Sanchez to get out of the inning. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch. Upstairs, trying to get a swing. 3-2. He's trying to run that fastball up and out to righties, and they're not offering at it. I'd come right back on that inside corner. Try and jam him up. Jones on second, Garcia on first. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Fastball inside corner got him to golf a swing wide. No runs, a hit, and 2 left as we go to the bottom of the first. Texas Southern nothing. Wildcats coming to bat. This is the 2025 SWAC Baseball Tournament here on the CatEye Radio Network. Back at Rickwood Field, we go to the bottom of the first here in game number 1 of the 2025 SWAC Baseball Tournament. Wildcats blanked the Tigers in the first and stranded 2. And now the Wildcats will get a good look at the UAPB transfer from Lena, Mississippi, Calvin McClendon, the left-handed pitcher on the mound for Texas Southern. Darrell Lee, the left-handed hitter, will stroll all the way, take the long walk from the dugout to the left-handed batter's box. And here we go. Best arm statistically that Texas Southern have is McClendon. 3-3 with a 6.03 ERA. 15 appearances, 14 starts, 1 complete game, 68 2/3 innings pitched. Lefty to lefty. First pitch on the way is up and in, ball 1 to Darrell Lee. McClendon has allowed 52 runs on 86 hits. 46 of those earned. Lee pops it up foul, third base side out of play, and it's 1-1. Striking out 47 and walking 26 has McClendon. His opponent batting average is .306. The 1-1. Lee swings and lines it right to the first baseman. It's off his glove. Jones fields and fires across high, but landing on the bag in time is Trejo. A bit of an adventure that time on the right-hand side of the infield, but Darrell Lee is out. 3-4-3.
Yep. Yeah, Texas Southern numerically or statistically, I should say, looks good. Defensively, they were a little bit, rocky at certain points over the last weekend. But again, I think the overall body of work speaks for itself. Get a little lucky there.
Here's Andre Martinez, watches one of the dirt ball 1. Martinez having one of the best offensive seasons in Wildcat history, batting .341. McClendon works quickly lefty to righty, 1 in the dirt. I don't think Andre Martinez is going to get much to hit. Leads the SWAC with 19 home runs. Other than that, 48 runs on 57 hits, 12 doubles, and a triple, and 52 batted in for Martinez. He's ahead 2-0 to McClendon. He swings and pops it up right behind the infield on the right-hand side. The second baseman, Jones, moves over, fights the sun, and he made the catch. He had to reach back way over his head. But there are 2 away, and that was what we were talking about, trying to be careful with those big swings.
Yeah, we saw a lot of pop-ups. I mean, when the Wildcats have fallen into their ruts, that's really what it's been. It's been the pop-ups. It's been that weak stuff, the weak flyouts right at the outfielders. It's been when they've fallen into their worst, that's what it's looked like. Fortunately, they tend to put up a big inning and kind of erase a lot of that.
First pitch to Jorge Rodriguez is swung on and foul, back 0-1. Rodriguez batting .384. With a good weekend last weekend, could have ended the regular season batting over .400, but didn't quite have it. He golfs one to right field and deep. Going back, Lejeune, track, wall. He makes the catch, leaping up with his back to the wall. And that's the end of the inning. No runs, no hits, nobody left for the Cats as they go 1, 2, 3. Go to the second. No score here on the CatEye Network. We go to the top of the second. No score between Texas Southern and Bethune-Cookman, game 1 of the SWAC championship. Tyler Lejeune leads off for Texas Southern, who stranded 2 in the first on 1 hit. Edwin Sanchez deals, squaring to bunt as Lejeune pulls it back, takes a strike. Lejeune batting .310, the junior, 26 runs on 35 hits, 8 doubles, 6 homers, 28 RBI. Sanchez into his windup and gets Lejeune to foul it back, 0-2. Sanchez, the left-hander out of Guayama, Puerto Rico, the junior, out of Albergue Olympico Baseball Academy down in Puerto Rico. Outside waits a pitch. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Deals. Golfed down the left field line and deep, and that is gone. 1-0 Texas Southern. That snuck inside the foul pole and got over the wall. So after all that talk of how hard it is to hit a ball out of here, Tyler Lejeune crushes his 7th one of the season, and it's 1-0 Texas Southern.
Well, yeah, that was about as no doubt as you get. It's about 325 down that line in left, 332 to right. If you've taken a look at the ballpark at all, you'll see there's kind of a line of advertisements above where the actual wall is, that if you just look at it from the behind home plate view, it kind of looks like they're part of the wall, and that the wall goes up about twice as high as it really is. It's a tall wall, but it's not massive, and Texas Southern get going early.
Well, here we go again. First pitch, a ball up and into Evan Jubert. Second pitch is fouled back, 1-1. Only the second home run that Edwin Sanchez has given up all year. The first one was to Southern back in that series. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, here we are again. Wildcats down early. Swing and a miss. Fastball upstairs, 2-2 on Jubert. Jubert, 298. 29 runs on 39 hits, 9 doubles, a triple, 6 homers, and 33 batted in. Swing and a miss. Fastball outside, and he goes down, one away.
It's a good response from Sanchez. Again, attacking.
First baseman.
With the early run, I think it's not a bad thing that you light a little bit of fire underneath the Wildcats early, and that goes for both sides of the ball. Sanchez just as much as the bats. I mean, how many times have we said it feels like the Wildcats don't start playing sometimes until they're playing from behind?
Here's the 8-hole hitter, Jonathan Trejo now. First pitch, a strike inside corner to him. Haven't seen a lot of breaking stuff from Sanchez early, mostly running with the fastball. He does so again, low and outside, ball 1. 1-1. Trejo, who we saw sparingly in the series over the weekend, pitch off the end of the bat, foul, first base side, 1-2. He's batting .305 on the year, 29 runs on 40 hits, 7 doubles, no triples, a homer, and 29 RBI. And the pitch that Lejeune sent out of the ballpark wasn't really a great pitch to hit, as reaching for it and fouling it off as Trejo, he stays alive, 1-2. It was inside fastball like the Wildcats are tended to do, and Lejeune just went with it and knocked it inside the foul pole down the left field line, 1-0 Texas Southern. Swing and a foul back again. We saw a lot of this last week. Texas Southern really loves their long at-bats.
I mean, the Wildcats should learn from it. I mean, it's a really good recipe for this tournament. How many times have we seen it just completely fall off the rails once you get past the first 1 or 2 guys in the pen?
We saw it with Texas Southern. And that 16-run shellacking the Wildcats put on the Tigers. Fouled away again. Sanchez finally went with the breaking ball. Count holds 1-2.
There's nothing fancy about swinging and those defensive swings like that. It just, I mean, very, very blatantly reaching out for it, but staying alive is so important.
Way outside, Sanchez had the ball slip out of his hand, and it's 2-2. An entirely right-handed hitting lineup today for Texas Southern. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball outside, got him. Second strikeout of the inning, third overall for Sanchez, and there's 2 down.
Yeah, Sanchez tends to get into these little runs where he'll rattle off, 6 strikeouts in 3 innings or more. I mean, we've seen him top out at 13. We've seen a couple of double-digit strikeout games, but they tend to come in bunches with him. You hope there's one coming here.
Fastball up and out, first pitch to Elijah Rodriguez, ball 1. Rodriguez, the junior catcher, batting .239. 30 runs on 26 hits, 3 doubles, no other extra base hits, and 16 batted in. A strike called outside corner, and it's 1-1. Rodriguez split catching duties last weekend with Alex Diaz for Texas Southern. Fouled away, late on it, but got a piece of it first base side over the dugout, 1-2. 1-0 Texas Southern on a solo shot by Tyler Lejeune to open up this top of the second inning here in the first game of the SWAC tournament. Is it surprising how calm I still feel, even being down early?
I mean, how many times have we seen it, right? And it's been a lot worse and a lot later in the game than this.
Upstairs on the fastball, 2-2.
The bats on this team, man, they are never out of anything.
Down low, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Sanchez now in danger of letting the inning continue, and back to the top of the order with Kelton Phillips on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, pitch. Fastball in on the hands, fouled away. We'll do it again. Texas Southern got to this tournament by way of defeating Bethune-Cookman in the last Thursday game, the first game of that series, where they came back to win 5-2 after the Wildcats went up 2-0 in the 5th, 5 in the 8th for Texas Southern. Check swing, foul, back to the screen. 3-2 again. But before that, they were a half game behind Prairie View. They needed Prairie View to get swept, and they needed to take one from us, and that's exactly what happened. Or else the Panthers would be here in their place.
Texas Southern team that, takes a lot away from last weekend. They feel like this is a team they can compete with, that they can beat.
3-2 again. Ball 4, high and outside. Rodriguez walks, second walk of the game issued by Sanchez, and we're back to the top of the order with Kelton Phillips, who singled to right his first time up.
Yeah, and the longer you stay alive in those at-bats, the more and more chances you have of forcing a pitch that's just uncompetitive enough that's an easy layoff. That's one right there. That's how Texas Southern has a lot of times managed to prolong these innings.
And already 43 pitches for Edwin Sanchez. Calvin McClendon got out of the first with 8. In the air, left field, Lee tracking. He reaches up, and it's off his glove into the wall. All the way from first coming in is Rodriguez. Into second with an RBI double is Kelton Phillips. He's 2 for 2, and it's 2-1. And now he's going to go to third as the throw in from left field sailed over the catcher's head. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you could call it the early game. You can call it nerves. You can call it whatever, but a little bit dysfunctional out there right now. Not that that was an easy play by any means for Darrell Lee out in left. That's a really tough one to make, a long run over. You had to basically be perfect on your jump, perfect on your read. Made it close, but then the relay kind of sails past Escobar at catcher, allowing an extra base and still leaving another threat here. I mean, Texas Southern's going to be scrappy. We know that.
Now here's Bryce Hughes, who placed a sacrifice bunt down his first time up, swings and misses at a curveball in the dirt. Strike 1. 2 outs now, 2 runs in the inning. The Lejeune solo shot, and now the 2-out walk to Rodriguez comes back to bite him after a Kelton Phillips RBI double. Swinging a foul ball right at home plate, and the count is 0-2 on Hughes. But as this game goes on, the pressure will pile on and pile on and pile on. And we talk about all the number 1 seeds here at the SWAC baseball and even softball tournaments. How long has it been since the number 1 seed won it? It's been a while. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hughes. You saw the number 1 seed in softball go down twice to the Wildcats, who were the number 4 seed in the East.
It's a target on your back. I mean, it's one more thing, bulletin board material.
Hughes fouls it away first base side. Count holds 1-2. The only time, my apologies, the only time the Wildcats never trailed first in the series against Texas Southern, which is a rarity. In both games against Grambling State, they trailed early and came back to win. Off the end of the bat towards second, fielding deep in the hole on the grass is Venegas. He fumbles the ball, and the throw to first is late, and it's 3-0 Texas Southern as Phillips scores from first.
Another one, not the easiest play in the world. We'll see what they score that one. A long run over there for Venegas. Kind of slow developing, and he read the bounce well, but didn't have the glove in the right spot. Kind of bounced up on him a little awkwardly, kind of his torso area. Just not able to make it in time, and we're going to get a early visit to the mound from Joel Sanchez, the pitching coach. It's just not looked all there quite yet.
Yeah, they gave a single to second base and an unearned run to Edwin Sanchez.
Yeah, that run could be earned if another base hit comes through.
And Coach Sanchez is out there talking to Edwin Sanchez. 3-0 Texas Southern. 3 runs on 4 hits. And really, the Wildcats were out of the inning. 2 strikes on Elijah Rodriguez. 3 straight balls, walked him, then double single to score 2 more runs after the leadoff home run by Tyler Lejeune.
Yeah, and it hasn't been anything groundbreaking that Texas Southern's done, as much as we've talked about running and small ball and all this. No, they've just put the bat on the ball. They've put it in play. They've stayed alive in at-bats. They've done exactly what they did a lot of last weekend, and we'll see if the Wildcats can do anything to snuff it out.
Here's Jaden Jones, reached on a fielder's choice to the shortstop his first time up back in the first inning, ended up being stranded on second. I'll throw over to first to check on Bryce Hughes, who is, of course, one of the SWAC's leaders in stolen bases, 44 on the year for Hughes. Second straight pickoff attempts. Bryce Hughes second in the league in stolen bases behind Jordan McCloudy of Jackson State, who comes into the tournament with 47. Still 2 outs in the inning, and that one's torqued down the left field line. It is foul. Home run distance, but not home run accuracy for Jaden Jones, who only has 4 on the year. And Texas Southern has made a nice adjustment because they're starting to turn on that inside fastball and pull it down the third base line.
You got to have quick hands to get one down the line, especially one with any kind of velocity.
Just a long strike. Now it's 0-1. 1 on, 2 out. 3 already in the inning for Texas Southern. Sanchez trying to get out of it. Throw to first. Stepping out of the box is Jaden Jones. Now he stands back in, digs in. And the lefty deals. Swing and a chopper towards short. Poyeto will go to first with it, and that's the end of the inning. But 3 runs on 3 hits and 1 left. The 2-out walk comes back to really haunt the Wildcats. It's 3-0 Texas Southern as we go to the bottom of the second here from Birmingham on the CatEye Radio Network. To the bottom of the second we go, and the Wildcats find themselves in a familiar spot, down 3-0 early, as Jesus Venegas stands in. One of the many Wildcats honored last night at the SWAC Awards ceremony. All SWAC first team, first pitch, line drive up the middle base hit.
We said it between the breaks. I mean, it felt like a hit is what they needed to make sure that, as silly as it sounds, that they knew that they could have success off the starter. And for it to be Venegas, a guy who has struggled a lot with strikeouts, with free swinging, with missing a lot of balls, for him to put one right back where it came from is a really nice start to an inning.
Here's Jose Hernandez now, 1 on, nobody out. They go back to check on Venegas. Hernandez batting .359 in limited appearances, just 13 starts. 15 runs on 23 hits, 6 doubles, a homer, and 15 RBI. First pitch, low and inside to the righty. That home run was memorable, though. It was the clincher in the sweep of Alabama State on the Sunday night game, or I guess Saturday night game after that doubleheader. The 1-0 from McClendon. Big swing, pop foul over the grandstands to the right-hand side, 1-1.
Hernandez has shown some flashes this year, man. He can be a really good player here. And he's got really a good mix of everything. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the physicality, he's got the power in the bat.
Popped foul straight back onto the roof. And the count is 1-2 on Hernandez. Getting a big vote of confidence from his coaching staff, starting the first game of the tournament. But he had the walk-off single to win the first game against Alabama State in a pitch hitter's role. He puts one in the air. That's playable. Foul territory. First base side. The first baseman, Trejo, will make the catch just inside the line. Second straight. Easy pop-up. And that's one away.
Those are going to be killer. You have to avoid those easy ones. I mean, as much as we'd love to say the sun is going to make those difficult out here, I mean, that's textbook play for those infielders or outfielders. And those are really what's, like we mentioned, been some of the most frustrating parts of this BCU offense at times.
Here's Jeter Poyeto now. The redshirt freshman batting .303 on the year, but he has struggled against lefties. First pitch low. Just batting .273 against lefties, .324 against righties. One away, Venegas on first after a leadoff single. Wildcats down 3-0 here in the bottom of the second of the opening game of the SWAC tournament. McClendon will deal. Outside, fastball called strike. 1-1. Umpiring crew today. Behind the plate is Lee Ishman, first base Patrick Graham, second base Robert Nunez, third base Robert Knox Reyes. So half the crew we had last week for this series in Daytona Beach, or I guess in Sanford. That one way wide to the right, and it's ball two. That one slipped coming out of McClendon's hands. Venegas almost took off towards second, thinking that was going to the backstop. Great job by Rodriguez behind the plate to track it down. And it's 2 balls and a strike on Poyeto, lefty to righty. Here's the pitch. Watches it low. 3-1.
Poyeto, another one of the 6 Wildcats honored with all-conference honors last night. Impressive year for the redshirt freshman.
As well as Coach Hernandez getting SWAC Coach of the Year. Poyeto watches one. Chin high upstairs, ball 4, 2 on, 1 out. Venegas goes to second. And that's how it starts. That's how it started for Texas Southern, a walk. That's how it could start for the Wildcats. And here is Captain Clutch, Irvin Escobar.
Man, some of his tournament runs have been some of the best baseball we've seen since this team joined the SWAC.
2 on, 1 out. Here's Escobar, batting .274. But the key number for Escobar, just 5 strikeouts on the whole season. First pitch, inside, ball 1. He is maybe the most disciplined hitter I've seen in all my years covering college baseball.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't necessarily mean he's batting .600, but he's putting the ball in play and forcing plays to be made, which is so valuable, especially in gotta-have-it situations like a tournament.
A ball and no strikes. McClendon from the stretch. That one, line drive, base hit left field. Rounding third and coming home is Venegas. Here's the throw to the plate. It's cut off, and the Wildcats are on the board. Captain Clutch comes through again, and it's 3-1.
Well, a hot start for Irvin Escobar. I can't say that I'm surprised. I mean, 2 years ago, and we'll try to maybe pull the numbers for later this week. In Georgia Tech, he hit, 450 on the weekend with what felt like a million RBI. I mean, he just crushed everything, and it's because he doesn't try to do anything special. That's nothing special about that. Not trying to crush it, not trying to put one in the air, just trying to send it right back, right through the hole over there. Really easy. He's just so fun to watch. Such a great fundamental baseball player.
And here's another guy who's kind of in the same vein, right? Sergio Rivera does have a couple home runs on the year, but mostly he's a line drive, ground ball pitcher, speedy guy. Going to force the defense to get him out.
I think the wind just blew the bullpen door open.
Yeah, the center fielder had to go up there and fix it. I wondered what the third base umpire Robert Reyes was talking about. He blew the play dead and was pointing out the center field. Maybe I thought maybe a ball escaped the bullpen, but that's kind of hard to do considering the bullpens are enclosed beyond the outfield wall. First pitch, strike inside corner to Sergio Rivera, whose numbers on the year, he's batting .290. 39 runs on 31 hits, 8 doubles, 3 triples, 3 homers, and 26 RBI. He's got Jeter Poyeto on second, Irvin Escobar on first after Escobar's RBI single made the score 3-1 Texas Southern. Runners go, double steal, throw down to second. Escobar, pretty much the decoy. He's out. He's a slow base runner, but that moves Jeter Poyeto over to third. Wildcats being aggressive, so there are 2 away now.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision to make it 2 outs now. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it this early in the game, but selling out for 1 extra run, I would have liked it better if there were no outs, because then at least you've got the runner on third. You can just put one in the air. Would have probably liked to preserve the chance for a bigger rally here.
Pitch to Rivera, swing and a miss. Breaking ball low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. And we'll see if the Wildcats gamble pays off for him. A base hit needed now by Sergio. Drilled a 2 RBI double off the wall in the final game of the regular season. He watches a fastball low in the dirt. Great job by Rodriguez to kick it back out in front of him. I mentioned earlier, but if you're just joining us, it is a long way to the backstop here at Rickwood Field. And with a runner on third, especially a guy like Poyeto, who's pretty quick, he's coming home lickety-split if the ball gets by the catcher.
With there being a short wall with padding and then netting all above it, it's going to stay there, right? It's not going to bounce back. It's not concrete like it's Sanford. It's going to stop.
2-2. Strike 3 called. Curveball outside corner, and Texas Southern gets out of the inning. A run on 2 hits and 1 left. And the Wildcats are on the board. Texas Southern leads 3-1 as we go to the third here on the CatEye Radio Network. To the third we go. 3-1 Texas Southern as they come to the plate here in the top of the inning. Edwin Sanchez has been rough to start this one. 52 pitches already, has allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, 2 earned, walked 2, struck out 3. Leading off will be Damian Garcia, who walked his first time up back in the first, was stranded there. Swing and a foul back on the first pitch fastball down the middle. The Wildcats really need Sanchez to settle in. It is so important to conserve as many pitchers as possible in this tournament. I mean, if they need to throw them, they will in this game to get a win, but you'd want Sanchez to go 5+. Well, with the Wildcats down 3-1, that one missed outside, 1-1. And the command being a little bit iffy for Sanchez. That one drilled down the left field line and foul. Texas Southern really turning on those inside fastballs now. Count is a ball and 2 strikes on Garcia. Sanchez deals. Swing and tipped into the glove, strike 3. 4th strikeout for Sanchez. Those numbers have been good, but he's been hit a little bit too much for our liking. 1 away in the inning, and here's Jaden Flores, who was the first strikeout victim for Sanchez back in the first.
It's important, just like every Friday night guy. You have to settle in, right? It doesn't always have to be scoreless, doesn't always have to be 10 strikeouts, but you have to settle in, and this is a really good opportunity for Sanchez to settle in.
Now 1 away. Flores squares to bunt. The pitch is low and inside. No swing called by the first base umpire, Patrick Graham, after an appeal. And it's a ball and no strikes. Flores, the freshman, one of the top getters on this team in RBI. Also home runs, 10 home runs, second on the team, 42 RBI. So he chops one back to the screen, and it's 1-1. And you can't stop being aggressive just because you've given up some hits. But I think we've seen how wide this outfield is. Anything hit out there on a line is going to be trouble. That one fouled away first base side, and the count is 1-2.
I mean, I will say, as far as the alleys, it does play a lot like Sanford in that way. But you've got so much space in left center, right center.
400 to dead center, 399 to right center, 398 to left center. So it's basically a flat wall out there. Fastball misses way outside, 2-2 on Flores. Wildcat defense playing straight away in the infield. Big gap up the middle. Another one that Sanchez missed outside. It looks like he's losing his grip on the ball a little bit because Irvin Escobar behind the plate's having to make massive adjustments, which means he's missing his spots. Now from a 1-2 count, it's 3-2, and he got a swing and miss. Fastball low and away. 2 straight strikeouts, and there's 2 outs.
Yeah, kind of a rare little bit of deception there. Texas Southern a little off kilter. That was not quite an excuse me swing, but definitely didn't look ready for it. Just kind of fans at it. Nice little comeback. I mean, we're used to seeing Texas Southern foul those off and stay alive, but nothing going there.
Sanchez quick pitched a little bit. He was ready. He fired that one in there before I was even ready. First pitch a ball low to Tyler Lejeune, who started the scoring for Texas Southern in the second with a solo shot down the left field line. So Sanchez going to have to be careful with him here. The 1-0, way outside. He's missing stuff in the opposite batter's box to the right-hand hitters, which is not something we've seen him do a lot this season. I wonder if he's okay. He did have to be taken out of a game 3 weeks ago against Alabama State. He misses another one way outside. And it's 3 balls, no strikes to Lejeune. I wonder if they're walking him here. 3-0. Down Broadway, 3-1. Yeah, he's looked as wild as I've seen him. And Coach Hernandez just made a sign down to the bullpen. Foul ball off the end of the bat, 3-2. Texas Southern not going to stopped being aggressive swinging the bat either. That one at a 3-1 count maybe is far enough outside that you could think about taking it. Lejeune did not.
You have a put-away pitch here.
High fly ball. Foul ball over the netting to the right-hand side. He went with the down low and out fastball again, trying to get the same swing he got from Jaden Flores. Lejeune rips it in the air, left center. But Darrell Lee is there, coming in to make the catch. And 1-2-3 go the Tigers. Wildcats still trail 3-1, but the first 1-2-3 inning maybe gives you a bit of a confidence as the Wildcats come to bat in the bottom of the third next here on the CatEye Radio Network. We go to the bottom of the third. Wildcats down 3-1 to Texas Southern, but they did shut Texas Southern down 1-2-3 in the top of the inning. Daniel Figueroa will lead off. It's 9-1-2 for the Cats here in the third. Daniel Figueroa on the season batting .328. Another guy who struggled for some playing time, but had a really great final weekend of the season against this TSU team. Calvin McClendon deals outside, ball 1. Figueroa, .328 hitter, but only 58 at-bats. 1-0. Ground ball towards third. Fielding just inside the line is Flores, and that's one away as he throws to first. Hard hit, but straight at Flores. One out. Now here's Darrell Lee, who grounded out to first his first time up via the via the glove of the second baseman. Hit off of Trejo's glove at first, fielded by the second baseman Jones, and back to first.
Yeah, the old pinball play. Got a little unlucky. If you hit that again, I'm not sure they make that same play.
One away. Here's Lee, lefty to lefty. Slider strike. First time we've seen the slider from McClendon.
That could be a potential pitch to hit if he hangs it.
He went with the slider again, missed it outside and low, 1-1. Lee grounded out his first time up and is the only lefty bat on either team in the starting lineup today as he torches one down the right field line. That's going to drop in for a base hit.
Basically did the same thing he did the first time up, which is kind of turn on one on the inside half of the plate. That time he just gets it a little more in the air, making sure nobody can get it. Can't run into one of those weird pinball type plays. And another little bit of action for the Wildcats.
Now here's Andre Martinez with Lee on first and one away. Martinez popped it up tamely on the infield his first time up to the second baseman, trying to make amends for that his second time up. Throw back to check on Darrell Lee, who is second on this Wildcats team in steals with 20 behind Sergio Rivera's 31. Wildcats down 3-1 here, bottom three in the opening game of the SWAC tournament. A second check on Lee. McClendon up to 29 pitches. The Wildcats really haven't challenged him all that much, even though they do have a run. First pitch to Andre. Swing and a soft line drive. Little bloop over the second baseman's head. That's going to get down. Holding at second is Lee. He gets back to the base in time as Lejeune throws in. Maybe one of the softest exit velos for a base hit for Andre Martinez this year, but a base hit it is all the same.
Well, I love the swing. What a great adjustment from the pop-up last time. How many times has it felt that way for Andre Martinez, where maybe the first AB or first couple of a weekend looked like the weak fly balls, the quick pop-ups. Now you're forcing a meeting at the mound because it's looking like the Wildcats are dialing back that approach a little bit, keeping the swing short. Two easy singles, and now you got something going, and it's just the one out.
And remember what the Wildcats did to Calvin McClendon in just the one inning we saw him last week. 5 runs, 5 hits, 3 homers. When the Wildcats can dial stuff in, they will get him, and we know they can hit this pitcher, which was why we were kind of a little confused why they threw him out against us. I guess pitch your best guy in a first game of a tournament like this. But we were shut down by the other left-handed starter that they had. His name's temporarily escaping me, but I thought they were going to throw him. But no, McClendon comes in. He looks clean through the first inning and the third, and then he allows a run on 2 hits, and now 2 straight singles after the leadoff ground out by Figueroa. And even the Figueroa ground out was hard hit, but just straight at Flores at third.
Just a good approach, and really it's a credit to the maturity of this Wildcats lineup. How many years have we talked about it in a row now where it's always felt like they have the ability to get into those ruts where they're just hunting fences, but not. Oh, look, the dugout door is blown open again, or the bullpen.
Yeah.
But
I wonder how many times we're gonna have to deal with that today.
Hopefully not a lot. Hopefully they fix it. But anyway, they get into those ruts, right, and they don't have a way to escape it. But there's so many complete bats on this Wildcats roster now that they have the ability to just flip that switch, turn it over, and change inning to inning.
Here's one of those complete bats. The .384 hitting Jorge Rodriguez hit one hard to the right center field wall for a fly out his first time up. 2 on, 1 out. First pitch from McClendon. First pitch, a swing and a fly ball to right field. Tracking is Lejeune. He makes the catch. Tagging and trying to go to third is Lee. Here's the throw. He is out. A beautiful throw, and Texas Southern is out of the inning. Oh, my goodness. Lejeune has been an all-star today for Texas Southern. A home run and a beautiful throw from right field to get Darrell Lee trying to go to third. Nothing on a hit, 2 hits and 1 left, and the Wildcats continue to struggle offensively, down 3-1 to Texas Southern as we go to the 4th here on the CatEye Radio Network. We go to the fourth, 3-1 Texas Southern first game of the SWAC tournament here this morning. Evan Jubert leads off. He struck out his first time up against Edwin Sanchez. First pitch, ball inside on a fastball. Sanchez pitched number 70 of his appearance already, and we're only in the fourth. That one softly grounded foul outside of third, 1-1. And it doesn't really bode well for Edwin Sanchez's longevity in this game, especially if you think you're going to need him again if you get to Saturday or Sunday. Check swing, no swing, ball low, 2 balls and a strike now. Texas Southern pleaded 3 in the second with 2 outs. Fastball outside to the righty, 3-1. A home run by Lejeune, a 2-out walk to Rodriguez, then 2 straight hits, one by Phillips, one by Hughes. And then that was the damage done. Tapped foul right at home plate by Jubert, and it's 3-2. Sanchez quickly into his payoff pitch. Misses it low, ball 4. Third walk already for Sanchez.
I mean, it's been activity on the base paths for both sides. I mean, there haven't really been a whole lot of clean frames. It just feels like Texas Southern has had the advantage of, prolonging the issue, and it's felt like a little bit more of a threat to this point when they've been on the base paths.
Well, because the Wildcats, we said it coming in, have just tried to muscle it up in the air. First pitch, bunted left-hand side by Trejo. It will go foul. And so now we're guaranteed to see the top of the order again unless the Wildcats can work some double play magic here. And Kelton Phillips has been your boogeyman. Single double runs scored in his 2 appearances. But we're not at him yet. We got Trejo and Rodriguez to get through first. Trejo's down 0-1 after the failed bunt attempts. But it wouldn't surprise me even if Sanchez gets out of this inning cleanly, and that's no guarantee with a runner on and nobody out, that he's done after this inning with already 75 pitches thrown. Trejo squares to bunt again, drops it foul behind the plate, 0-2. They did this in the first inning when they had a runner on with nobody out. Bryce Hughes bunted Kelton Phillips to second. He was eventually run out on a fielder's choice. So now 0-2 on Trejo. Jubert on first after a leadoff walk, nobody out. Sanchez deals. Line drive off the end of the bat to right field to the opposite way. And there's 2 on with nobody out.
It'd be interesting to see how much longer the leash is for Sanchez on the mound. Definitely seeing a little bit of activity down there in the bullpen for BCU. Somebody's throwing. We can't quite see because all we have is a little window to look in there. All I see is blue. But somebody's definitely down there throwing.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's JC Zambrano.
Definitely one of the guys that can give you more length out of the pen.
Now 2 on, nobody out. There's an offensive meeting going on to the right-hand side of the first base line for Texas Southern. Love Bethune-Cookman University sports? Of course you do. Then don't miss Hail Wildcats Radio, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of all 15 Wildcat sports programs, hosted by voice of the Wildcats, Michael Turillo, and featuring the expertise of sports information directors Bryce Radowski and Brian Harvey. Hail Wildcats Radio delivers unparalleled coverage of your favorite teams. Tune in to 1380 WELE Daytona Beach every Saturday to catch the show live or listen anytime on your favorite podcast platform. We won't have a show this Saturday because we might, but we probably won't have a show this Saturday because we'll still be up here. But next week, we'll wrap up everything. 2 on, nobody out. Bunt attempt from the 9-hole hitter Elijah Rodriguez. The pitch is low, ball 1 as the Wildcat corner infielders charge in. Wouldn't be surprised if Rodriguez tried to drop that bunt down again. Small ball will win in this big ballpark. And so far, Texas Southern is doing it better than Bethune-Cookman. That one, a fastball strike at the knees, 1-1 from Sanchez. Tough start for the Wildcats here in game number 1. Reminiscent of 2 years ago, right, where they came in as big favorites against Southern, lost the first game, ended up making that magical run all the way to the championship. Throw back to second. Venegas had to scramble on the ground to prevent that one from going into the outfield. The Wildcats are doing this weird thing where the Shortstop Poyeto runs around the bag at second, and then the second baseman covers to try and lure the runners into a false sense of security. I mean, it hasn't helped yet, and because Poyeto is positioned all the way behind the bag, there's a massive hole on the left-hand side of the infield for the right-handed hitting Rodriguez. Here's the 1-1. Rodriguez squares to bunt, pulls it back, strike two at the knees.
It's definitely interesting to watch that play develop. Feels like it might be doing a little bit too much. I mean, like you mentioned, the hole there, the last thing you want is, especially as well as the right-handed bats have been really targeting that left field line, you'd hate for him to just put one right through.
Ground ball towards second, could be two. Flip to second for one, back to first. Double play. Got him by a half a step. Jubert goes to third, but Trejo out going from first to second. Rodriguez out on the double play. 4-6-3, and there's two outs.
Well, you still got the runner at third to contend with, but that's a really nice way to, assist Sanchez as much as possible when it comes to trying to prolong his outing out here.
Wildcats turned 5 double plays in the 3-game set against Texas Southern last weekend. First pitch to Phillips is low, ball 1. Phillips 2 for 2, single to right in the first, RBI double to left in the second. And he's got a chance for another RBI with Evan Jubert on third and 2 outs with Texas Southern up 3-1 in the fourth. And he lines one to right field, long run, diving, catch made by Rivera, full extension on the slide, and that's the end of the inning. A run-saving web gem for Sergio Rivera. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. The great defense by the Wildcats gets them out of it, and we go to the bottom of the fourth. Wildcats with some work to do offensively, down 3-1 here on the CatEye Network. Jesus Venegas, who scored the only run for the Wildcats so far, leads off the third. Saw 1 pitch from Calvin McClendon and knocked it back up the middle for a single in the second. Came around to score on the RBI by Irvin Escobar. 3-1 Texas Southern as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Still plenty of time for the Wildcat bats to work. But that's a swing and a miss and a fastball low in the dirt. Strike 1 on Venegas. And he has been kind of the strikeout magnet this year, Jesus Venegas. Leads the team in Ks, and at times has been kind of a black hole. Big swing, tapper foul right at home, 0-2. On the year, 64 strikeouts and 201 at-bats. On base at 391. And he's down 0-2. McClendon deals. Stays alive with a tapper foul back to the screen.
Not sure Jesus Venegas has ever seen a pitch that he hasn't thought he could hit. I mean, it's a lot of stuff down low in the zone, a lot of those golf-type swings. But he does this. I mean, this is how many 0-2 counts. We don't have the numbers, but how many he's been in this year. It feels like just about every other one he's down 0-2.
Another 0-2, waste pitch upstairs from McClendon, 1-2. Venegas, 315 against righties, just 273 against lefties. McClendon wastes another one low in the dirt. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Venegas taking back-to-back pitches, a rarity.
Well, he almost lulls the pitchers into this false sense of security, right? Because he's swinging at everything early, and then he shows he can lay off. There's another one.
Way outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 3 straight balls from McClendon.
I think I said it on Saturday. It feels like a Venegas AB doesn't start until he's down 0-2. Then we can really dig in.
3-2. McClendon deals. Ground ball towards the shortstop, fielded in the hole by Hughes, crossed the diamond in time, 1 away.
Well, again, that's one I look at and say, although it maybe started a little ugly, that's a productive at-bat for Venegas. I mean, you force a tougher play for the shortstop over there. He's got to move to his offhand. And you do work the count, throw some pitches. Could be a lot worse. We've seen a lot worse from Venegas at times.
Now here's Jose Fernandez, who popped up quietly to the first baseman his first time up. First pitch swinging, ground ball, foul, third base side. Calvin McClendon, just 38 pitches. That was number 39. He's given up a run on 4 hits, struck out 1, walked 1. Very clean for McClendon. You can see why he is the top Texas Southern arm, even though he didn't really show it the first time these two teams got together with him on the mound last Friday. 0-1, breaking ball outside, 1-1. Jose Fernandez, the Venezuelan junior, in a rough spot here. All right, sorry, a big spot here, and he fouls one straight back. 1-2. But the Wildcats have, again, fallen into that kind of big swinging rut that they've been in at times this year, just allowing pitchers to cruise through innings. A ball and 2 strikes to Fernandez. Low, ball 2. And that really is what killed him last year in the tournament against Jackson State, those 3 games where they lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers, is they just allowed the pitchers to stay in the games and didn't force them to use the bullpen. Now 2-2 on Jose Fernandez. Swing and a fly ball, left field, well hit. That goes back Garcia. He's at the track. He's at the wall. Adios, amigos. The Wildcat Bats have arrived in Birmingham. The second home run of the season for Jose Fernandez, and the Wildcats are down just 3-2.
Well, you talked about the vote of confidence, right, that was put in by Coach Hernandez for Jose Fernandez heading into this game, and it's just a credit to some of the great swings we've seen him put on balls throughout the season. And I thought yesterday, watching batting practice, he was one of the ones who swung the ball maybe better than anybody. And he was doing a little bit of everything. He was mixing it to all fields. He was putting balls not just over the wall, not just hunting the outfield, but through the holes on the infield as well. And he earns that spot in the starting lineup, and he pays off right away.
1 out, 1 in, and it's 3-2 Texas Southern. Here's Jeter Poyeto, who walked and was stranded on third back in the second. He was the successful part of that double steal. First pitch, 12-6 curve outside, ball 1. Nobody on, 1 out. McClendon deals. High fly ball, right center field. Long run for Phillips. He will get there and make the catch. And the outfield is so wide, it can hurt you if it's a hard line drive, but if it's a lazy fly like that, outfielders have plenty of time to get over and make catches.
Yeah, that one was just enough air time for them to be able to track it down in the outfield. But still, I mean, not the worst place in the park to put it.
Here's Irvin Escobar, who had an RBI single to the left-hand side, his first time up to get the Wildcats on the board. First pitch way outside, breaking ball. And then was caught stealing as part of that double steal. Nobody on, 2 out. And the 1-0 from McClendon working quickly is popped in the air. First base line, down the line, long run. Lejeune right on top of the chalk makes the catch. And that'll end the inning. A run on the home run by Jose Fernandez, and the Wildcats chip into the lead, but they're still down 3-2 as we go to the 5th here on the CatEye Radio Network.
Well, it's a 3-2 ball game now. A little bit of a different look as Edwin Sanchez will head back to the mound. He'll face off with Bryce Hughes to lead things off for Texas Southern. Definitely got a little bit of a different feel now with the Wildcats just 1 run away. The first pitch to him is a ball. And he'll fire that one in on the outside corner for a strike. It's 1-1.
And I've returned.
Welcome back.
Yeah, sometimes the bathroom gods call in the middle of the game, and baseball is unforgiving like that, where you don't have any media timeouts. You don't have
get a halftime,
quarter
you don't get
break,
any of that.
halftime, none of that. We play straight through, swung on and fouled straight back. The count is 1-2 on Bryce Hughes. Hughes had a sac bunt in the first inning, then singled on the infield to the first base side and was stranded there. Sanchez, the 1-2 to Hughes. Swing and a miss. Ball gets away from the catcher. Escobar collects, fires to first in time, 1 away.
Well, I think you'll find after it's, the 3-2 game now that this game can switch up pretty quickly, right? If Sanchez can settle down a little bit, that's a nice at-bat to start out another inning. And Texas Southern is kind of slowly, I think, waned a little bit on offense. Still very much threatening, but not quite at the same frequency as they had in the early innings. If you can settle down, flip the script a little bit, I think you'll be feeling a lot better about yourselves heading into the next couple innings.
First pitch to Jaden Jones. Fastball outside, ball 1. Jones 0 for 1 with a fielder's choice in the first and a ground out to short in the second. The 1-0 from Sanchez challenges him inside and gets it to foul 1 straight back. Lots of foul balls by Texas Southern. We noted this last weekend. They just foul off a ton. Force the pitcher into bad situations and take advantage of it. Sanchez deals. That one down the first baseline. Foul ball by inches. That was destined for the corner and maybe a 3-bagger. But the first base umpire, Patrick Graham, put up his hands and saves the Wildcats a lot of grief right there. Talk about sports being a game of inches. There you go. Count 0-2 on Jaden Jones. This is a Texas Southern team that did not come into the SWAC tournament with a great record. Ground ball, foul outside of third, and it's 0-2 again. Only 2 wins for Texas Southern since the 25th of April. One of them against Alabama State, one of them against Bethune-Cookman. Once again, the 0-2, Sanchez deals. High pop, right field. Rivera stands under it, and there's 2 away.
And there you see kind of the command of the game coming back a little bit for Sanchez, where it kind of felt like he was letting it come to him a little bit, or maybe Texas Southern was going on taking it a little bit. Now he feels like he's settled in a little bit more. Took him a few innings. I feel like we see that often happen at the start of these tournaments, especially for your first arm, first day, first game for anybody. But he's finally starting to feel it a little bit.
Now 2 away. Here's Damian Garcia. First pitch to the right-hand hitter. Ball outside on the fastball. Those misses for Sanchez are still a little bit too far outside for my liking. He's not really selling that outside corner. That time down Broadway with the fastball. 1-1. Garcia 0 for 1 with a walk. Struck out in the third, walked in the first. Fastball, not correction, breaking ball, low and away. 2-1. 2 of the 3 walks that Edwin Sanchez has issued have been with 2 outs. The one in the first to Garcia and the one in the second to Rodriguez. High fly ball, left field and deep, going back to the track is Lee. He makes the catch with his back pressed to the New York Life Insurance Company sign on the wall. Well, the Wildcat defense finally showed up to play. That's a great catch by Lee, and the Wildcats forced the Tigers to go 1-2-3 in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Wildcats still down 3-2 here on the CatEye Radio Network. To the bottom of the fifth we go. Wildcats hanging around, down 3-2 in the opening game of the 2025 SWAC tournament here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. 8-9-1 due up for the Cats. Sergio Rivera stands in. First pitch from Calvin McClendon, a big 12-6 curveball, caught the outside corner, strike one. Rivera in the series against Texas Southern went 4 for 11 with 4 RBI, but had 3 hits and 4 RBI. Ground ball softly hit to third, fielded by Flores, crossed the diamond, got him by a half a step, one away. But yeah, all 4 of those RBIs for Rivera came in the game that McClendon started, and he had a 2 RBI double against McClendon in that first inning. But he is now 0 for 2. Now here's Daniel Figueroa, who's over 1 with a hard hit ground ball to third base back in the third. First pitch from McClendon. Missed it, ball 1. Not sure where, but he did miss it for ball 1. And the bottom of the order, the bottom 4, were so good against Texas Southern. That's a strike, up and out on the fastball, 1-1. But the bottom 4 today, outside of the hit by Irvin Escobar, haven't produced anything of note for the Wildcats. That's a strike call. 12-6 curve outside corner again. And it's 0-2 quickly on Daniel Figueroa. McClendon working quickly. Another curveball misses outside. McClendon has transitioned from going mostly fastball slider to mostly curveball slider as we've gotten to the later innings here. And it'll work quickly again. Here's the pitch. Song, ground ball, softly hit off the glove of the third baseman, and everybody's going to be safe. Trying to get to second is Figueroa. He is in there under the tag. Heads up base running by Daniel Figueroa to get to second. That one was hard hit toward Flores at third. The ball went off of his glove into shallow left field. Garcia, the left fielder, didn't have a play on it, and Figueroa stretched it all the way to second.
And really, I think a little bit of tough luck there, because if that ball does not get to Flores' glove, if it allows to dribble by and get to Hughes at short, I think there's a better chance of making the play. I'm still not sure it's great, because it's a long throw over and it's a little bit slower developing. I will say on the base running side of it, I'm not sure there's any other Wildcat I would want trying to stretch that one than Figueroa, because it was still very close, and they've already been bitten twice on base running today.
Runner on second, 1 out. Here's Darrell Lee, who's hit 2 very hard balls today, both down the first base line. One was a ping pong out in the first, one was a single in the third. 1-0 to him. Ground ball towards second. Fielding is Jones. He'll put out Lee. So 3 hard hit balls by Darrell Lee. Moves Daniel Figueroa across to third with 2 away. And the batter is Andre Martinez, who singled to shallow right his first time up. Sorry, his second time up. Before that popped out on the infield.
It's the 3rd time today we're seeing a runner over at third for the Wildcats with 2 outs. So you can't just go to the sacrifice fly, but they've struggled a little bit thus far.
They haven't gotten one in. Haven't gotten one in this scenario yet. First pitch, lefty to right, and Martinez. Breaking ball right down the middle. 0-1. And do you think that McClendon is going to that curve and try to induce more soft contact, get more rollovers, get more pop-ups?
Just got to make sure you don't miss your spot. This Wildcats team will take advantage.
0-1. In the dirt. Great job by Rodriguez to keep it in front of him. A ball and a strike. And if there's anybody I trust to come home from third on a wild pitch or a pass ball, it is Daniel Figueroa. Has been used as the primary pinch runner this season when he has not started games. That's why he's only started 15 games but appeared in 35. And they're going to intentionally walk Andre Martinez. Which, I don't know, maybe not the worst decision in the world if you're Texas Southern.
Well, it's still got Jorge Rodriguez to deal with right behind him. I mean, we've talked so much about the depth of this BCU lineup throughout the year. I'm not at all surprised with a base open that you walk Martinez. I think it won't be the last time we see an intentional walk for him in this tournament.
Now in a big spot, runners on the corners, 2 down. Here's Jorge Rodriguez, who's 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to right, 1 deep, 1 shallow. First pitch to him. Breaking ball, outside ball 1 to the righty hitter.
And when you start to mess around with intentional walks, What you have to worry about most is your control for the next batters. You don't want to walk the bases loaded.
Jorge Rodriguez is 375 as he takes a strike this year with runners in scoring position, with 35 RBI to his name on the year. Breaking ball outside, 2 balls, 1 strike on Jorge Rodriguez. While Andre Martinez has got you power this year, Jorge Rodriguez has gotten you the consistency with the average all the way up at 384. 2-1. Here's a pitch. Down low in the dirt.
McClendon looking a little bit like Sanchez did early on. That breaking ball is kind of slipping out of the hand a little bit and drifting onto the outer half of the plate, and then he kind of yanks the fastball.
3 balls, 1 strike to Rodriguez here, and I don't know, I might take all the way. The last 2 pitches weren't necessarily competitive. Runners on the corners, 2 out. Wildcats down by 1. The pitch. McClendon deals. Nope, he'll check back to first. Here comes the runner home. Throw to the plate. Oh, it's sad. They're going to review that.
They're going to review that. I think he got it.
They checked over to first on Martinez.
What
Daniel Figueroa tried to sprint home. He was called out at the plate, and this is going to be our first review. That's very close.
Well, I'll say this, and this is a very, sports media thing to say. If he's in, it's a great play. If he's out, I kind of question the decision.
And the Wildcats have done this a lot in this game. The double steal, the advance on the shallow pop fly from Poyeto in the last inning. They've been way over aggressive as we see the slow-mo.
He's in.
He's in.
I think it's no doubt. I think this is a quick one.
You
got Frank in the background calling
the
safe.
The athletic trainer in the background calling safe. We're watching the replay on the SWAC digital network stream. We also have the replay booth.
Yeah, maybe we
right
can knock on the window. We can wave at him and see if we can get a call early. But no, I mean, again, and really it's unfair to say what I said regardless of the outcome. It's tough, right? If you lose this game down the line, and there's so much time left, but if it does not go your way, the first thing we're going to point to in the postgame is the base running decisions. I mean, they've been very, very aggressive, and we know throughout the season a lot of times they have. Second year for Coach Hernandez taken over at the third base coach position, and he's been aggressive. And a lot of times this year it hasn't really mattered because you've either known you've had the bats, it's been early in games, or you've been way ahead. You've been allowed to do it. It's a little bit tougher now when it's nut cutting time and you really have to have it.
Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Here's the review. He is safe, and we're tied at 3. He got his hand down under the tag. What a run from Daniel Figueroa, and that's why he's the go-to pinch runner on this team.
And see, as much as I give Coach Hernandez at third credit, that's all Figueroa. I mean, that is seeing the play, a lazy throw over, too. Not a whole lot of pace, not a whole lot of urgency on that. He sees it and immediately takes off. You're talking about being aware of the game, being aware of what's going on, heads up. One of the best, if not the best, base running play we've seen all season.
Now, tie game at 3. 2 outs, runner on first. 3-1 pitch is golfed high in the air to right field down the line. Lejeune makes the catch. Oh, it almost went over his head, but he does reel it in for out number 3. So the aggressive base running of the Wildcats finally pays off. A run on a hit and 1 left. The steal home of Daniel Figueroa. Ties is at 3 as we go to the 6th here on the CatEye Radio Network. Back at Rickwood Field as we get set for the 6th inning, the Wildcats with some aggressive base running have tied the game at 3 on a steal of home by Daniel Figueroa in the bottom of the 5th. Edwin Sanchez on the mound still, Bryce. He is up to 97 pitches on the game, but he's found a groove the last 3 or so innings, but the leash has got to be quick because he hasn't thrown over 96 in a game before today. So this is officially his longest outing of the season. I guess in a game you have to have, you're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. You want to potentially save some bullpen arms here. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a good chance. It's looked a lot different for him the last couple innings, so it's a really good chance for him to settle in one last time. I wouldn't be shocked if he can get through a quick one if he comes out again. I think at this point, it's like you said, the leash is short, but he's going to get the opportunity to go until he shows that he's going to have some cracks in it.
Jaden Flores will lead off for Texas Southern. He struck out swinging twice, once in the first, once in the third. All 3 Texas Southern runs came in the 2nd inning. Kind of reminiscent of that Thursday night game last week, Bryce, where Texas Southern just had 1 big inning, and that's all they needed. First pitch, swing, and a miss on a slider down low.
It's also uncharacteristic for the Wildcats at times to be the chip away team. They tend to be the ones that are putting it all back in 1 or 2 innings.
Coach Rodriguez for Texas Southern. Going to have a chat with Jaden Flores. Make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman University Athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the Bethune-Cookman online store. Go to BCUathletics.com and click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's BCUathletics.com. And click on Shop. What do you think they're talking about down there? Just, don't strike out again.
Well, right. I mean, it really is that. It's a little more complicated than that. That's another pitch, that down and in fastball especially, they just keep hacking it. I think they turned on it early, and they've turned into less and less contact as Sanchez has kind of buried that pitch a little bit more in the corner and just trying to stay away from it a little bit. He goes back to it, another swing.
Same exact 12-6 curve in the dirt, swing to miss.
Yep. Again, but that's the key, is Sanchez is burying it, right? It's not staying up a little bit. It's not fading over the middle. It's diving, and it's diving hard.
And most of where Sanchez has missed in this game has been outside of the right-handed hitters. That one's in the dirt trying to induce a swing and miss, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. But he has been really wild on those, especially the sliders outside. Hasn't really gotten him close to the strike zone. When he's attacked and come inside, yes, Texas Southern has adjusted and had that home run, had a couple of hits to left field, but mostly it's just been swings and misses. That one golfed high in the air, going to stay in play left field. Darrell Lee calls off Poyeto, makes the catch. Poyeto ran all the way out there like he wanted to make that catch. And Lee said, no, wait a minute, this is my territory.
And that may, when it comes to communication, not be the toughest play that they've had all season, but I'll give this Wildcats defense a ton of credit. It might be one of the best years I've seen, at least in the last handful or so, of the Wildcats defensively when it comes to communication. We haven't seen a whole lot of balls drop in no man's land. We haven't seen fielders running into each other. It's been really good.
Here's the home run hitter for Texas Southern. Tyler Lejeune corked one over the left field wall down the line. Back in the 2nd, that was the first run of the game for Texas Southern. He flew out to left in the 3rd as well. First pitch from Sanchez was low ball 1. As he goes over 100 pitches, that one number 101 for Edwin Sanchez. 102 is skied high pop first base line into the shallow outfield. Rivera stands under it, and there's 2 away.
When you talk about the script flipping, notice I had to say that very slow. I thought for sure I was gonna mess the word up.
You got through it.
A flip in the script, right? It feels like we've switched, right? The Wildcats are rallying every inning. The Wildcats are putting runners on. The Wildcats are working walks. And Sanchez, on the other hand, is inducing weak pop-ups, strikeouts, a lot of big swings and misses. It's completely turned on its head.
Here's Evan Jubert. First pitch, fastball strike at the knees. Jubert 0 for 1, struck out of the 2nd, walked in the 4th, was stranded on 3rd, thanks to maybe the best play of the game. Sergio Rivera's diving catch out in right field to prevent 1 run, maybe 2 runs, and end the inning. That was the last time the Texas Southern had a runner on base. Edwin Sanchez has sat down 6 straight Tigers. See, there I go with the Freudian slip. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike after I missed a couple of outside fastballs. Here's the pitch. Goes back to the fastball knee high and gets a strike called 2-2.
Oh, looked a little generous from up here.
Well, there's been a couple of generous ones, especially outside corner from this
for sure.
Home plate umpire.
Wildcats are used to that, though, after last weekend.
Oh, yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sanchez deals. Low and inside. Just over-rotated on the fastball. He's definitely feeling it a little bit up to 104 pitches. But if he can get through this one and turn it over to Zambrano for the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I think you might be okay. But that one come inside and hit Schubert on the foot, and it's a 2-out free pass. And this is where the Wildcats have struggled in the game, especially in that 2nd inning.
We'll see if they give him another batter. It looks like it. No immediate move out there to the mound. I think for sure, probably last batter either way, though.
Whoever is warming up out there for the Wildcats has been up and down and up and down. And we can barely see him through that little window through the bullpen down the left field line that's set back into the wall. Now it's Jonathan Trejo, singled in the 4th, struck out in the 2nd. Goes to the slider back door and gets a strike call low and away. Now first base runner for Texas Southern since the 4th. And he gets another strike call on a slider low and away. 0-2. That one was pretty generous, I will admit.
A good chance to find a put away. Does he go down and in again?
Sanchez has 6 strikeouts on the game. Didn't get number 7 as the ball gets behind Irvin Escobar, and Evan Jubert's going to go to 2nd on the pass ball. That was a bit of a weird one. You don't usually see Irv drop those. Just kind of squeaked between his legs, didn't leave the circle around home plate. But now runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
Sanchez did go down and in there.
The 1-2 to Trejo goes down and in again. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Texas Southern has proven, or at the very least, Trejo has proven that he's not going to swing at that down and in strike.
2-2, 2 outs. Runner on 2nd. Breaking ball, slapped foul. That was a wicked slider.
Yep.
Looked like a Frisbee. Or a frozen pizza in Boston parlance.
I mean, that maybe the best one I've seen him throw. I mean, that thing was all the way across the zone.
And now 2-2 again. On Trejo. Ground ball towards short. Fielding deep is Poyeto. Throw across the diamond. In time, got him. Not by much. The stretch was there from Rodriguez, and the Wildcats got out of it. No runs, no hits, 1 left on the hit by pitch. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Wildcats love the bottom of the 6th. We'll tell you more about it when we come back in a 3-3 ball game here on the CatEye Radio Network. Jesus Venegas leads off for the Wildcats, swings and fouls it away left-hand side as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Tie game at 3 here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. The count 0-1. Venegas singled in the 2nd, came around to score, and then grounded out short in the 4th. Whoa, McClendon misses that way in the opposite batter's box. I mentioned that the Wildcats love the 6th inning. Well, in the inning-by-inning score breakdown that we have here, I'll tell you after the 1-1 from McClendon, fouled straight back 1-2 by Venegas. The most runs scored in an inning this year by Bethune-Cookman is 84 runs in 6 innings combined. Their next closest is the second inning, 66. And it just goes down from there. There is no statistical reason why the 6th inning. That one golfed left center field and deep by Venegas. Long run, diving play. Did he get it? He got it. Oh, my goodness. Garcia matches Sergio Rivera's ridiculous catch from earlier in the game, robbing an extra base hit from Jesus Venegas at full stretch.
I mean, that completely changes the trajectory of an inning, right? You're looking at a runner in scoring position and maybe worse with the ball potentially squeaking all the way to the back wall there. Makes a nice play. I thought it had kicked out of the glove and onto the grass, but I think that was just a glare off some of the cleats.
It's so hard to see all the way out there. It's so bright. Jose Fernandez, fly ball to center, first pitch swinging. Phillips tracks it down out number 2.
See, that swing I don't like as much because now you're looking at another quick inning and giving McClendon a chance to keep it moving. We know the wheels can very much fall off, and I think when you talk about, well, why is the 6th inning the inning where it all kind of breaks open? I think that's about the time you chase the starter, you get to the bullpen, you see the new arm, and you just let it rip.
But McClendon's still cruising at 66 pitches through 5 2/3 here. He's on for a complete game, potentially. Now here's Jeter Poyeto with 2 outs and nobody on. First pitch swinging off the end of the bat to the right field side, and home run distance, but not home run accuracy, as that lands about 2 feet to the right of the foul pole, down there right above the 332 number down the line. We've seen both Darrell Lee and Jeter Poyeto knock opposite field home runs just like that this year. And the wall does dip in height by about 5 feet once you get towards that right field corner, because there's a little bit of stands that curl around that you can look in on. Breaking ball outside, 1-1 on Poyeto. Poyeto walked in the second, was stranded on third after stealing a base, and flew out to center in the 4th. 2 quick outs for the Wildcats. A terrific catch by Garcia, and then a lazy fly out by Fernandez. And that one's in the air to left field. A ground ball hit to third. It is really hard to track the ball off the bat here, but it's put away by Flores, and the Wildcats go quietly on just 8 pitches, and we go to the 7th. Well, all that talk about the 6th inning, the Wildcats are going to have to do it later than that. We go to the 7th, tied at 3 here on the CatEye Radio Network. New pitcher for Bethune-Cookman as we go to the 7th. 6 full from Edwin Sanchez. He gives up 3 runs on 5 hits, strikes out 6, and walks 3. And he is replaced by Carlos Hasmin, the sophomore. And an important spot for Hasmin, who's been up and down. He's praised by this coaching staff as having some of the best stuff in this Wildcat bullpen. As the first righty pitcher of the game deals inside, and he hit Elijah Rodriguez with his first pitch. I was about to mention, but he can be very wild at times. Oh, boy. And here's the top of the order, Kelton Phillips.
I mean, this is a guy in Hasmin that really pitched his way into this role over the last, call it, 4 to 5 weeks, a month or so. I mean, he was kind of showed flashes, but never really was a trustworthy guy early in the season or last year, and then kind of showed a few flashes here or there, had a couple of big outings, worked his way into this, but I wouldn't be surprised if the lease is short.
Phillips squares to bunt, ball in the dirt, ball one. Phillips today singled in the first, RBI double in the second, and was robbed by a terrific catch for Rivera out in right in the fourth when he almost had another RBI. He's got Elijah Rodriguez on first and nobody out. The 1-0 from Hasmin. Squares to bunt, puts it down third base side. Charging is Martinez. The throw is in time, and there's one away, but the sac bunt moves Rodriguez to second. And it feels like with the Wildcats offense stagnating a little bit, Texas Southern might just need one.
Well, we know it really feels like for either side it can swing open in the matter of one inning. But I wouldn't be surprised either if we see the Wildcats go to small ball at some point as well.
Now here's Bryce Hughes. Sac bunt in the first, single on the infield in the second, struck out in the fifth. Hasmin's numbers got a 4.98 ERA on the year, 21 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 14 runs on 18 hits, 12 earned. Striking out 20 and walking 22. I mentioned the a bit wild swing and a miss there, though, at that wicked 12-6 curve that just drops away to the outside batter's box. It almost has a little bit of run on it late away from righties. Got a silly swing from Bryce Hughes there. Hasmin went 2 1/3 in the final game of the regular season on Saturday. Pitch, swing and a miss at a frisbee slider, and it's 0-2 on Hughes. Gave up a run on a hit, walked 3, struck out 1, and the 10-8 win for the Wildcats that clinched them the regular season title. He's got 1 out, and Rodriguez on second after hitting him with the first pitch he threw. He's got Hughes at an 0-2 count. Hasmin checks the runner and deals. Another slider fouled straight back. What do you think the rationale is going with Hasmin here, Bryce? You expected maybe Zambrano out of the pen, your all-SWAC reliever.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think it's probably just a matter of you think your stuff played well with Hasmin over the weekend, or maybe even that the Zambrano's the most recent arm that they saw out of the pen for you last weekend. It's definitely an interesting call.
Swing and a miss. Another frisbee slider that Bryce Hughes had no shot at. Strikeout for Hasmin, 2 down.
Well, I mean, he's quick to show you that tantalizing stuff, right? I mean, we've really, even in the course of just 3 batters through this inning, you've seen kind of the full Hasmin experience, right? Where he comes down to first pitches as inside as it gets and really uncompetitive, hits him, puts a runner on, puts him in trouble early, but then he flashes it right back with the stuff to get you right back in it.
Now here's Jaden Jones, 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice. That fielder's choice back of the first. Perch pitch from Hasmin, another slider, swing and a miss. Grounded out to short in the second and flew out to right in the fifth, did Jaden Jones on his 2 outs. Runner on second, 2 outs, the 0-1. Fastball, check swing. He went around as that ball was way in the outside batter's box, and it's 0-2. The board says 1-1, but I'm watching the umpire here. Hasmin's 0-2 pitch. Went with the slider again this time. Jones lays off of it. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Hasmin shakes off a pitch from Escobar. Now he comes set. And from the stretch. Misses it down low in the dirt. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. The scoreboard, of course, says 3-1, but the official live stats say 2-2, so I'm going to go with that. Hasmin, the pitch. Another slider outside. Now Jones is nose to lay off of that, and it's a full count, 3-2. This is where Hasmin, being a little bit wild, can come back to bite him here. 3-2, 2 outs, runner on second, the pitch. Ball 4, over-rotated on the fastball, spiked it. And there's 2 on, 2 out, and the batter will be Damian Garcia.
He sold out a little bit trying to get the swing and miss on the previous 2 pitches. And then it forced you to have to throw a strike. You, of course, don't want to put one right down the middle. So you got to be a little careful, and like you mentioned, just kind of yanks for a little bit.
Now Garcia, 0 for 2. Walked in the first, struck out in the third, flied out to left in the fifth. Now 2 on, 2 out. Pitch from Hasmin, way outside. Escobar has to stop it from going to the batter's from the backstop. Maybe a trip out to the mound from Escobar to settle down his sophomore pitcher necessary here in a tie game, top 7. Ground ball to short. Poyeto flips to second. The Wildcats are out of the inning. Hasmin does the job, gets a strikeout and 2 groundouts. And that's the end of the 7th. 2 left aboard on 2 free passes, but it doesn't come back to haunt the Wildcats. It's a 3-3 ball game going to the bottom of the 7th. Can the Wildcat offense put some on the board? We'll find out next on the CatEye Radio Network. We go to the bottom of the 7th here in Birmingham. 3-3 between the Texas Southern Tigers and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. First game of the 2025 SWAC tournament. Wildcats trying to punch their ticket to the upper bracket semifinal tomorrow, where they would play the winner of Jackson State and Alabama State. Irvin Escobar leads off against Calvin McClendon, who is still in as the starter, who is about to throw his 70th pitch of the game. It is a breaking ball strike outside corner to the righty Escobar, and the count is 0-1. Escobar, RBI single in the second, scoring Jesus Venegas, and flew out to right in the 4th down the line. He watches one low and inside, ball 1. Very even game, this one. Bethune-Cookman 3 runs on 6 hits. Texas Southern 3 runs on 5 hits. And in the air, right field. That one is going to go foul into the netting from Irvin Escobar. Last at bat, and this one too, Escobar feels a little bit behind, and he's just playing that opposite field down the first base line. It's a ball and 2 strikes now. McClendon, a long wait to the first batter of the inning. Now he's into his windup. And Escobar barely gets a piece of it and taps it back to the screen. He's got to be aggressive because that outside corner has been called all day as strikes. And it's been even. It's been for both sides. But you can't let one like that sit.
Yeah, the bottom of this lineup, I mean, 3 of your 4 returners from last year in the lineup, the bottom 3 spots here, really good, have been setting the table all year. And Irvin Escobar, maybe no better.
1-2, Escobar, line drive, right field. That's going to get down, and is going to head towards the wall. Irvin's going to head towards second. He's going to be in there with a stand-up leadoff double. What did I call him before? Captain Clutch. Leadoff man aboard for the Wildcats.
I mean, there's something about it. This time of year, you can't get him out. You can't get him out. And he's not necessarily pumping homers. He's not necessarily hitting off the wall every time. But he's just so consistent, and it starts with being able to put the bat on the ball. It's so simple, but he does it so well. It's fouling off pitches. It's knowing when he has to be defensive versus when he can lay off. He is such a valuable piece to this team, and I still don't, as much as this time of year we sing his praises, I still don't think we give him enough credit.
Meeting on the mound for Texas Southern, this is just players, so there's not going to be a change yet. What's that, the meme from John Rothstein where he replaces Izzo with March? You can replace May,
exactly right.
Replace May with Escobar.
Yep.
You know, January, February, March, April, Escobar. June, July.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, it's unbelievable how he flips the switch.
And even in the last couple of series of the regular season, he was great too. Really broke the game open in the middle game of the series against Texas Southern with a big bases clearing double in that one.
He's just so consistent. So consistent. I don't know how you keep him out of the lineup at any point throughout this run here. That's why you had to see Hernandez, right, come in as the DH, because you just can't take Irvin out of the game.
Now with Irvin Escobar on second, the one downside to Irvin is he's not the fastest guy in the world. He has been caught stealing already today. Throw back to second. It's close, but he's in there safely. Where we saw Sergio Rivera square to bunt, and if he does, we may see Texas Southern try to go to third to get the lead runner here.
Yeah, they got Irvin once already.
And now Michael Robertson is going to trot out to the mound to talk to his infield. This is an interesting spot, right? You've got one of your slower guys on the team who hit one about as well as we've seen any ball hit today out to the deepest part of the park, right center field, barely managed a double out of it. Now he's your lead runner on second at a tie game at 3 in the 7th with nobody out.
And see, with nobody out, I mean, you can really say both sides of it, right? I mean, Sergio is probably the best bunter on the team. They go to him a lot for it. He's a guy that really could bunt for a base hit in many respects, but that's not exactly what they're going to here. But with the way that Irv's run today, with the way that Texas Southern has been really aggressive defensively, I'm not sure I feel great about it. Again, I trust the play that's being called. If that's what they're confident that they can get, I do trust it. Of course, now that we're going to get a call to the bullpen, we'll see if they stay consistent with that.
I was looking down at my notes. I didn't see that. So Calvin McClendon is done after 6 full innings. He gives up 3 runs on 6 hits. And really, after he gave up 5 runs on 5 hits in 1 inning against us over the weekend, this is the Calvin McClendon that was one of the top starters in the SWAC, and he showed us why today.
Yeah, absolutely. He was excellent. I mean, setting the tone for a team that needed it, right? They came in knowing what they had to have, knowing that their pitching was not necessarily their strength, and they got strength out of it today. Put the team in a position to win, and now you kind of hold your breath if you're Texas Southern. And if you're the Wildcats, you keep doing what you're doing. Work pitch counts when you can. If you can get to them early, I mean, you're in really good shape.
Okay, this will tell you how much Texas Southern wants to win this game. The new pitcher is James Malone, who was the starter in the Thursday night game against the Wildcats, gave up 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 5 in 6 innings of work, and really stymied the Wildcats that entire game.
Well, you hope it's something similar to how Sanchez started, right? Where it's, well, we've seen him, we've gotten our fair look at him, we know what we're getting, and we're better prepared now than we were this time last week. And for us upstairs, all of us watching, we hope that lack of offense, that lack of preparedness in that Thursday night game was really just more of teams riding high, maybe wasn't thinking too highly of Texas Southern coming in, knowing that they were on that fringe playoff line, kind of slept walk a little bit. You don't have time now to mess around. You got to jump on him early because we know, like you said, he can finish this game out if you're not careful.
James Malone is the senior out of DeSoto, Texas, and DeSoto High School. Tall, lanky lefty, 6'3", his listed height. He's got a 9.30 ERA on the year, 39 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 42 runs on 59 hits, 41 earned. Walking 20 and striking out 29. He's allowed 10 doubles, a triple, 9 homers, 6 wild pitches, a balk, and 8 hit by pitches. His record is 3-2. He did get a no decision in that game because he left and then Texas Southern came back in the later innings in that one, but he set them up really well to come back in that game that they eventually won 5-2 last Thursday.
Just can't let him cruise. I mean, it can't look like those first couple of innings today where you were kind of swinging a little bit too heavy, a little pop-ups. that sort of rut that they get stuck in at times. I like that it's Sergio and Figueroa leading things off against the new reliever, because you do have that kind of more dialed back, more simpler approach. You're not having guys that are going to come out and swing for the fences immediately. And so I think it's a good chance to either crack one across early or at the very least set up the top of that order and show them what it takes to be successful.
It's Sergio Rivera, who's 0 for 2, struck out looking in the second, grounded out to third in the fifth. Irvin Escobar on second after a leadoff double. New pitcher James Malone will step off and throw back to second. If I'm Irvin Escobar here, I'm not going more than 2 steps past that bag. You do not want to be picked off here. In a big, big spot. He's the go-ahead run represented.
If Malone looks like he did on Thursday, this might be your best chance.
Corner infielders playing in to prepare for the potential bunt. They go back to second. And doing exactly as I said, Irvin Escobar, not more than 2 steps from the bag, gets back inside. And it still looked closer than it probably should have been. Tie game at 3, bottom 7. Escobar on second after the leadoff double that forced the pitching change from Calvin McClendon to James Malone, who has not thrown a pitch home yet to Sergio Rivera, who still stands there in the right-handed batter's box. Now he comes home with it, squaring to bunt, and it's a ball outside. Pulling it back is Rivera, ball 1. And Malone, there's no pitch velocity meter here, nor was there one in Sanford, but by the eye test, probably has the best fastball on the staff. In terms of velocity, I'd clock it maybe low 90s. Rivera squares to bunt again. Pulls it back. Line drive, base hit, left field. It's not going to get very far, and Escobar's going to hold up at third, as throwing in from left is Garcia. What a smart piece of hitting by Sergio Rivera. And there's runners on the corners with nobody out.
Yep, like you said, shows bunt, pulls it back, rips it right through, quick hands, really easy. Unfortunately, I'm not sure even Figueroa, the fastest runner on this team, gets home on that one.
Nobody's scoring from there because Garcia was playing in, the ball was hit right to him.
Yep, didn't even have to move.
Mm-hmm. Now here's Daniel Figueroa, who only has 17 RBI on the season. He stands in with a chance to give the Wildcats a lead. I can't see them going to the double steal here, especially with Escobar on third. If it was the other way around, I could see it, with Sergio on third.
Yep.
But can't see it now. First pitch to Figueroa. Off-speed changeup outside. And McClendon didn't really have a true off-speed pitch. He had the 12-6 curve, and then the fastball. As a timeout is called by Coach CatEye, he's going to want to talk to everybody here. Well, biggest moment of the game.
We're going to test a theory here, because we've talked about it a couple times, especially over the last weekend. It seems like every time CatEye calls everybody in, and we have one of these hitters meetings, especially one of these, right, where it's everybody coming in, just going over something quick and sending them all back out, it seems to more often than not result in a positive.
Unfortunately, that is not one of the stats on my very extensive stat sheet of batting average after consultation.
Right. That's like...
although it sounds like something that like professional teams would have.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, to me, it's kind of like the term that Colin Cowher has been throwing around lately. I've seen on social media a couple times where it's manalytics type stuff. It's let's bring them in, fire the guys up, give them the game plan, and let's go. I don't need your stats. I don't need your against lefties, righties, runners in scoring position. No, call them in, talk it through, and we'll try to put something together.
Runners on the corners. Nobody out. The count is 0-1 to Daniel Figueroa with the go-ahead run on third. The pitch from Malone. Outside in the opposite batter's box. And even if the ball gets to the backstop, I'm not sure if you send Escobar here. He's just not that fast. And that's the quandary of having your slowest guy on third base as your lead runner. 1-1 to Figueroa from James Malone, who just came out of the bullpen. Check back to first. Rivera, alert to it, gets back to the bag.
It almost seems to me when Malone is checking over, especially with Escobar, the previous batter, it's almost been more of just a way to break up the tempo than anything. I mean, it's never really looked like a quick delivery to try to nab the runner. That one maybe is.
Throw over to first, sliding back in is Rivera. That was a really late safe call from the first place umpire, Patrick Graham. Waited about 5 seconds. The count is still just 1-1 on Figueroa after 2 pickoffs. He comes home with it. Figueroa watches a 12-6 curve in the zone, 1-2.
That one's not that different than the one McClendon was throwing, where if you hang that, it can be a little bit of trouble. It's really slow.
1 ball, 2 strikes, runners on the corners, nobody out. Malone deals. Figueroa, ground ball, base hit! Left-hand side squeaks through the infield. Scoring is Escobar. Wildcats lead 4-3.
Well, you can't stop now. I mean, I don't feel good about 1 run, just like we didn't all of last weekend talking about, well, it doesn't really feel like that's enough. I love the vintage approach of this inning. Again, it feels like last year's Wildcats, and in a good way. As much as we talked about how they might have been limited offensively to what we have at our disposal now, nothing complicated about any of those swings. You mixed in some bunt opportunities, you mixed in some good base running, and just another easy swing right there.
Double, single, single, and now it's back to the top of the order with nobody out, and 2 on and 1 in. Here's Darrell Lee. First pitch, squares to bunt, pulls it back, and has to jump out of the way as that pitch almost hit him. Lee, 1 for 3, but has hit the ball really hard all 3 times. Ripped it down the first base line all 3 times.
And now with Irvin off the base pass and your 2 fastest guys on, I'm for sure dropping down the bunt here.
Third baseman playing pretty deep if he bunts it to the third base side. He will drop it down. Third base side, but foul. And the count is 1-1. Yeah, I agree. Especially with Martinez, Rodriguez, Venegas, your next 3 guys up. Second and third, no outs.
It's as textbook of bunt opportunities you can get.
And there's a good chance that Lee could leg it out if something goes awry defensively, because he's the 3rd fastest guy on the team behind the 2 guys that are on base already.
Yep.
1-1 the pitch. Corners in for Texas Southern. The bunt is dropped down, foul, third base side again, and it's now 1-2. Now you can't bunt it unless you're going to be really aggressive. I think we've seen it once this year, and it wasn't the Wildcats, it was their opponents.
No, Sergio Rivera did it once.
Sergio Rivera did
and
it
he bunted for a strikeout. I remember that one. That was only a couple weekends ago.
Was that one of the games I missed?
I don't think so.
Because I don't remember it.
I don't remember, but I know it was Sergio. I know it was a very similar spot like this. Bunted it. Sergio, again, is probably the best bunter on the team. Lee doesn't do it quite as much because he's usually leadoff.
1-2. Lee squares to bunt. The pitch. Runners go. Bunted. Is it going to stay fair down the first base line? It's foul, and he's out. Oh, no.
Yeah, tried to play it a little safer. Tried to go down the first base line. Really tried to just keep it in front of him rather than try to push it down the line. That's really unfortunate.
And they're going to have to send the runners back, too. Both runners went. Again, really aggressive call by Coach Hernandez, and it doesn't work out. Most of them haven't in this game. Now 1 away. Here's Andre Martinez.
For it to be Darrell Lee, who's had so much success swinging the bat this year, to still put him in that spot where you force the bunt, results in the out, and that's another one you can look back on and second guess a little bit if things don't go your way. Fortunately, still just the 1 out.
Throw back to second, but nobody was covering the base, and in fact, Malone didn't even let the ball leave his hands. Andre Martinez, 1 for 2 with an intentional walk in the 5th, singled to right in the 3rd, and was stranded on first and popped out on the infield in the 1st. 2 on, 1 out. Golfed to right center field. Center fielder Phillips makes the catch. Both runners tag. Trying to go to 3rd is Rivera. He's in there without a throw. So the runner moves up. Martinez is out for the 2nd time today on a weak fly ball. And now there's 2 away and another pressure spot for Jorge Rodriguez. He has been up with 2 outs all 3 times. He has flied out to right all 3 times.
And that's where the bunt kind of bites you back a little bit again. Whereas that was a perfect sacrifice fly swing right there, but because you couldn't get the bunt down, because it ends up resulting in the out, all he gets the extra bag, and here we go again. Runner on 3rd and 2 outs. You got to get one of these in.
Rodriguez stranded 2 aboard in the 3rd and 1 aboard in the 5th. Runner goes to 2nd. Oh, no, and they've got Daniel Figueroa in a rundown. He dives back to 1st, no throw, and retreating back to 3rd is Sergio Rivera. That was a weird one.
It was a smart play by Texas Southern to just sit on it. I mean, as much as it might be frustrating because you feel like you had it out, they wanted the out. I mean, they were going to sell out for it. The second you threw that one over to 1st and you committed to getting Figgy out, I mean, Sergio was breaking.
So after that weird one, runners on the corners, 2 outs. Jorge Rodriguez, who's been the Wildcats' most consistent bat all year, up to the plate. Check over to first. And every
going there too.
Yeah, I know. Every time they check over to first, it feels like Sergio Rivera is halfway home already. If that ball gets away, or is even maybe in the dirt, he's charging.
Yep.
4-3 Wildcats. They've already scored 1 in the inning. Can they get insurance? The pitch. Breaking ball. Missed outside. Didn't miss by much, but a ball. And they're going to give up second base as stealing is Figueroa. So now second and third, 2 down. With Rodriguez ahead on the count of ball and no strikes. Remember, 3 flyouts to right field for Jorge Rodriguez in the game. Rodriguez, big cut and miss ahead of the breaking ball, 1-1.
You know he feels it. I mean, this is a spot where it feels like you can really take control of this game for the first time all day, and all it takes is one swing.
Yeah, the problem is I'd love something on a line or on the ground instead of in the air.
Yep.
Another slider misses just outside for Malone. Umpire squeezing him a little bit. 2 balls and a strike. Game in the balance. Bottom of the 7th. Wildcats up 4-3 looking for more. Second and third with 2 outs. That one a fastball. Ran it up on the corner for strike 2. 2-2 now.
I don't mind a layoff there. That's the kind of pitch that's gotten the Wildcats in trouble with the pop-ups a lot.
I think Malone's got to go back to it, though.
Yep. Probably your safest bet at this point.
The 2-2. Way outside, wasted 1. And it's 3-2. If we get there, Jesus Venegas is on deck. Heart in mouth moment for both Tigers and Wildcats. Full count. Chopped right in front of home plate. The throw to first by the catcher is in time, and Texas Southern only gives up 1. Okay, will that come back to hurt the Wildcats eventually? But they do take their first lead of the game, 4-3. A run on 3 hits and 2 left on, and we go to the 8th. Wildcats 6 outs away from advancing into the winner's bracket here on the CatEye Radio Network. We go to the top of the 8th. Wildcats with a 4-3 lead over the Tigers of Texas Southern here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. First game of the SWAC tournament. Oh, boy, it feels like a tournament game, Bryce. High pressure, every batter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to the mature team, the winning team. And I say that not just the one that comes out on top, but the one that has the winning mentality, that knows how to succeed in these spots. We're just hoping at this point it's the Wildcats.
It'll be Carlos Jasmin on for his second inning of work. Worked around 2 free passes to not allow a run in the first. Backdoor slider missed inside to the right-handed hitting Jaden Flores, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a flyout to left. Jasmin got through that first inning of 15 pitches, walked 1, struck out 1, and hit a batter. That time a strike at the knees on the fastball. A ball and a strike to Jaden Flores. Righty to left, or righty to righty the pitch. Breaking ball, skied to right field, pretty deep down the line. Rivera moving over, he's got it. And there's one away. That was golfed.
Continues to be a really big spot for Hasmin. And as long as he can keep guys off the base pass, you feel pretty good about the way his stuff plays. And always starting out with an out for Hasmin has felt really critical. I'm not sure how his numbers stack up again. That's another thing I wish we had a full analytics department we could dive into. But it feels like when he can get the first one, yeah, sure, he might allow one later, but it feels like he cruises a little bit better.
First pitch outside and low on the slider to Tyler Lejeune at the solo home run in the second to put Texas Southern on the board. Other than that, he's flied out to left and flied out to right. He pops one up on the infield. Who's going to get there? Right-hand side of the mound. It's going to be Jeter Poyeto all the way in from short, makes the catch, and there's two away.
Another great instance of communication. We talked about it earlier. It's one of the things this Wildcats team has done best. They don't really have that true defensive captain like Colton Olison was last year. I mean, you may want to give Venegas that title just because of how much he's played more than anybody else. Been really the stalwart at that position more so than even Poyeto, who's been out there much of the year. But they talk really well, and they don't let plays like that can get tricky, they don't let it get to them.
We're going to have a pinch hitter here for Texas Southern. Evan Jubert, who is 0 for 1 with a walk, 0 for 1 with a strikeout, a walk, and a hit by pitch, is going to be pinch hit for by Jason Lazo at the 7th spot. Big spot here for Lazo.
Jason Lazo.
As I try and find his numbers.
You got to set the table from nothing with only 4 outs to play with. Yeah.
Lazo batting .288 on the year. Breaking ball, slider, strike. And this is the first lefty bat that Bethune-Cookman has faced all day. 9 righties in the lineup for Texas Southern. Now they pitch hit a lefty to face the righty Hasmin. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball outside corner, ball. 11 starts and 30 appearances for Lazo on the year. 13 runs on 15 hits, 6 doubles, no triples, a homer, and 16 batted in. Hasmin shrugs his shoulders and deals. Ground ball towards second. Venegas on 2 hops, throws to first. In time, 1, 2, 3, go. The Tigers. Efficient inning by Hasmin. Fly out, pop out, ground out on just 10 pitches. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats with a 4-3 lead, looking to make it more here on the CatEye Radio Network. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 4-3 Bethune-Cookman looking for some insurance here over Texas Southern in the first game of the tournament. It's been a great game. Highlight defensive plays, clutch hitting, couple of home runs, which we weren't sure we were going to see. James Malone on the hill for the Tigers. Big cut and miss on an inside fastball by Jesus Venegas. Venegas has led off every time he's been up in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th and now 8th.
And he's also swung on a pitch down and away to start every at-bat, every single one.
Ground ball towards short, fielding deep in the hole across his body is Hughes, and he lets it go under his legs. And Venegas is aboard for the second time today.
It ain't always pretty with Venegas. I really, and again, credit to him for the hit. If I'm him, if I'm coach, I'm telling him, just take the first pitch. Just take the first pitch. Because every time it's been the same one. Down and in. Hasn't always been one pitch type or another. There was the first time I think it was fastball. We've seen breaking balls. But every time he's just hacking at it. Just fortunately, he's been able to put it back in play. You talked about even the almost 400 on-base percentage, which isn't incredible by any means, but still, it's been mostly a credit to the hitting, less so than the rest of it.
One on, nobody out. Throw back to first. Venegas back in safely. Here's Jose Hernandez, who really, I think, got the Wildcats back in the game mentally with his solo home run in the 4th. At that point, they were down 3-1 and kind of hacking at everything, and he set one deep over the left field wall into the bullpen, and that... Oh, and he got hit by a slider, and he's going to be on base. But I think that was the turning point of the game for the Wildcats.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Hernandez says. To me, the turning point of the game was Sergio Rivera's catch because it saved multiple runs. You're talking about teetering big time. I mean, swinging one way or the other. The Texas Southern taking a multiple-run lead over what they already had to cutting it off at the end of the inning. I mean, there's plenty of moments you can point to. I mean, shoot, you could point to the steal of home as a turning point.
Guess what? They came back-to-back, by the way. Yeah. End of the top of the 4th, start of the bottom of the 4th.
Yep, they sure did. So there you go. I mean, that's perfect right there. That is the turning point.
Jose Hernandez is going to be pinch run for here at first. Let me get my binoculars out to see who's up there. Wow, Fabo, not the fastest guy. Maybe you want his bat in the lineup for a potential... But I don't know if you'd see 9 more batters in this game. I'm not sure what the rationale is there. But
well, keep in mind, you have other bats off the bench too, right? You have Armani Newton, who's still available. You have others who can come out and pinch hit if necessary, if they don't trust the bat of Fabo.
Throw back to second. So now we got Venegas on second after his single to the left-hand side. Fernandez got hit by a pitch in his pinch run 4 by Jorge Gonzalez Fabo. The batter is Jeter Poyeto, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Walked in the 2nd, was stranded on 3rd. Flew out to center in the 4th, grounded out to 3rd in the 6th. Wildcats lead 4-3, 2 on, nobody out, looking for some insurance runs here, bottom 8. As it stands, the Cats 3 outs away. Bunting it, foul. That went way high behind the plate and back to the netting from Poyeto, and the count is 0-1. It's a little hard to see the scoreboard. They've got this little tiny electronic scoreboard all the way down in right field by the foul pole that seems like it's a quarter mile from us.
I think when they did the MLB game here, I think they brought in a video board from the screenshots that I've seen.
Wouldn't surprise me. Squaring to bunt, high pitch. Having to jump to get it is Rodriguez behind the plate. A ball and a strike to count. But the ball or the strike indicator light is right above the inning number, and it sometimes blends in.
Yep. Especially when you got a couple of them. It just looks like the top of, in this case, the 8.
1 ball, 1 strike. Infield in for Texas Southern to prevent the potential bunt. Squaring and dropping it foul is Poyeto, and now it's a ball and 2 strikes, and I don't think we're going to see another 2-strike bunt after Darrell Lee's failed attempt at it in the last inning.
I definitely wouldn't. I don't know if we'll see it again, but I think with Coach Hernandez already been bitten by it once, I can't imagine a world where they do it again.
But Poyeto, I would look at that left-hand side. The shortstop is playing almost behind second base.
Yep.
Third baseman's almost playing behind third base. There's a big window right there if you want to hit a single to the left-hand side.
Yep.
He'll square to bunt again, Will Poyeto. He'll pull it back. He will watch strike 3 outside on a slider. Oh, boy. Second strikeout looking at the game for the Wildcats, and they've both been pretty much identical.
That's a really nice pitch. And that wasn't a bad call by any means, but when you knew the outside half of the plate was going to be a generous zone, you have to be defensive on that one. And I think the late decision to pull back the bunt, you have a little less time to think in your head about your pre-pitch approach, and so it just kind of results in being forced to take an ugly one.
Now here's Irvin Escobar. RBI single, leadoff double, run scored in the ball game. Watches a slider outside and low ball 1. RBI single in the 2nd to score Jesus Venegas. That put the Wildcats on the board. Then led off the 7th with a deep single to right center. Eventually came around to score to put the Wildcats up 4-3. Stepping off and throwing back to 2nd is James Malone. Escobar came in on the RBI single by Daniel Figueroa.
And the outfield has not moved at all. There's still just as much space out there in left center. Not to mention that hole over in the infield as well.
Venegas on second. Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo pinch running for Jose Hernandez on first. With one out here in the eighth. Malone deals. That's golfed into right field. That is going to get down for a base hit. Everybody's safe and the bases are full of Cats.
It does seem like this time of year when Escobar really gets going, it's the opposite field that is his bread and butter. It seems like everything, he just keeps it super simple and just flicks it over the infield to that opposite field. He absolutely destroys it. I remember in Georgia Tech last 2 years, that's exactly what it's been. It's been that ball to the gap, opposite field.
And it's a simple in premise, right? You just drop the head of the bat a little bit, flick it out, and you know they're hunting the outside corner, right?
Yep.
And you just put the edge of the bat on it, float it over the second baseman's head.
It's really like a slap in softball, and you do it because it's easy to make contact. It's easy. All you got to do is just get it enough in the air so that it's over the infield. That's literally all he's doing.
Bases loaded, one out. The batter is Sergio Rivera, and he watches a slider inside ball one. Rivera in the game, 1 for 3. Struck out looking in the second. Grounded out to third in the fifth, singled and was stranded on third in the seventh. Bases full of light blue jerseys. Rivera hits one in the air left field. Back goes Garcia. He makes the catch. Tagging from third is Venegas. He will score standing up. Wildcats have an insurance run. It's 5-3.
And you breathe just a little bit easier. Not saying you're confident, not saying it's over just yet. But that's a massive difference. 1 to 2 runs in the last inning of the game is massive. It is such a big sigh of relief, such a big breathing point. Now you have a whole lot more flexibility, and still, you got some more to work with here. You got another chance to bring another one home, still the runner in scoring position.
Daniel Figueroa with Fernandez on, Fabo, on second, and Escobar on first. First pitch to him with 2 outs. Runners go, swing, and a foul ball to the left-hand side. Ooh, that hit Coach Hernandez.
I think he just ducked. I don't think it hit him.
He was holding his wrist, and he looks like he's in a bit of discomfort. It might have hit him.
I think we would have seen our trainer Dave come out there by now if it did.
Okay.
Coach Hernandez, I'll tell you this, over the last, feels like 3 weekends, he's had 4 or 5 almost nail him.
Figueroa 2 for 3, singled and scored in the fifth, singled RBI style in the seventh. His one out was a ground out to third in the fifth, put the ball in play every time. Fastball outside, ball 1. 1-1 the count on Figgy. Once again, Fabo on second. Escobar on first. Neither one of those guys extremely fast. It'll take a ball in the gap to score them. 1-1. In the air, right field, opposite way down the line. Tracking is Lejeune. He makes the catch near the corner, and that's the end of the inning. But a run on 2 hits, and the Wildcats have a 5-3 lead with 3 outs to get as we go to the the top of the ninth here on the CatEye Radio Network. Can the Wildcats hang on and book their ticket to the upper bracket semifinals? Find out next on the CatEye Radio Network. The tension reaches its zenith here at Rickwood Field. The sun is rising, the temperature's getting hotter. It's been a long game, 2 hours and a half right now. As we go to the top of the ninth, the Wildcats lead the Texas Southern Tigers 5-3. And we might be talking in a few minutes, Bryce, about another comeback win. The Wildcats were down 3-0 after 2.
It's a big spot for Hasmin, right? And I think it's helped that he's been put in these kind of spots over the last couple of weekends. It's very easy to say, oh, well, what if he showed something strong in the very last weekend of the year or a couple of times in garbage time? No. He was handed the keys in some big spots, and he's ready for these pressure moments. And even if he's not, you've got people behind him now. And we can look at this as an effort by the entire pitching staff as really strong if he can get through and you've only used 2 arms through the first game.
Pinch hitter. First up in the 9th for Texas Southern, it's Dalen Carlton. First pitch, fastball, strike on the outside corner and low. He's batting for Trejo, who was 1 for 3. Again, Texas Southern sending left-handed arms up to face Hasmin. Let's try that again. Fastball outside, missed to the spot, and it's 1-1. Trying to find numbers on Carlton. He's batting .250 on the year, dribbles it foul, first base side, 1-2. 100 even at bats is that bat number 101 for Carlton. He scored 25 runs on 23 hits, 4 doubles, a triple, 5 homers, and 15 batted in. An on-base percentage of .429. He's behind 1-2. Hasmin deals right at a lefty. Breaking ball didn't catch the outside corner, 2-2. Don't mind that one. It's one of those where you've seen Texas Southern offer at in the 4 straight games we've played against the Tigers. 2-2. Fastball in on the hands, ground ball, base hit up the middle past the diving glove of Poyeto. And the tying run will come to the plate.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew Texas Southern wouldn't go away. They never have, not through any point last weekend. Again, not the worst at bat, not the worst approach there from Hasmin. Still like what we've seen from him from the last, really ever since the first pitch he threw.
Another pinch hitter, a third lefty in a row, as they bring Edmundo Alanis to the plate. Saw Alanis briefly, ground ball back to the pitcher. Hasmin goes to second, on to first. Double play, the stretch by Rodriguez, got him! Wildcats 1 out away, what a play by Hasmin to turn it.
And that's an interesting decision there. Obviously, you know, pinch hitting for a guy that didn't have a ton of success, but you're putting somebody in a spot that really you got to be ready for. And comes out first pitch swing, really not maybe the best approach for a pinch hitter to do that. All you can do is chop it back to the mound. And now you're really looking uphill when it felt like you really had some life. And now all is kind of in a rough spot now. I mean, it's going to take a big-time rally here if they're going to put anything together now with 2 outs. You can't make any mistakes.
But it is Kelton Phillips, their best hitter, up to bat in a situation back to the wall. Phillips, 2 for 4, singled in the first, RBI double and scored himself in the second. Flew out spectacularly to Sergio Rivera in right field in the fourth, then had a squeeze bunt attempt in the 7th and was out. First pitch, ball low, fastball. 3 more games today. Find them all on the SWAC Digital Network as the first round of the SWAC tournament is played this afternoon. Fastball outside corner, strike 1. Phillips didn't like the call. Tilted his head back a little bit, now stands back in. Florida A&M against Southern is the next game coming up. That's the other side of the bracket, the 2-7 game. Pitch. Off the end of the bat, fouled away over the bullpen to the right-hand side, dugout, to the right-hand side. The Wildcats 1 strike away. The game the Wildcats will have their eye on, Alabama State against Jackson State. They'll get the winner of that one tomorrow afternoon. Last game of the day, Arkansas Pine Bluff against Grambling State. Ground ball to second. Venegas sets his feet, and this one belongs to the maroon and gold. It was another come-from-behind, battle-back victory. The Wildcats take it 5-3. Wasn't easy, wasn't cheap. Texas Southern didn't roll over like they did last year. This one felt earned.
And I give a ton of respect, first of all, to Texas Southern. They came out and were what we expected, right? And I think a lot of that for the Wildcats, while the reason they're able to have this level of success in this first game, it goes back to last weekend. How important did we say, sure, regular season championship doesn't mean anything at the end of the day if you can't come through this week. But it forced you on Sunday to play everything you had. You had to come out, you had to win, you had to lock in from the start. You didn't have a chance to take it off, to relax, to come out and have a getaway day. You had to play until the last pitch, and Texas Southern made you play until the last pitch. And so not only were you experienced and given a final chance to win gritty like you did at the end of the season, but you also had to do it against this very same Texas Southern team. So you knew what it took. You knew what they'd bring you, and you were able to execute. To me, I think we'll talk with Coach about it. The turning point becomes like what we talked about. That swing from Sergio Rivera's run-saving play to solo shot the next inning. That is at least a 2-run, but maybe a 3-run swing right there. And if you look at the stat sheet, it's a throwback win for the Wildcats. 3 of your 4 RBI is Escobar, Rivera, and Figueroa. And that's very much like last year. The guys that know what it takes to win this time of year, who've seen it, who've gone just about as far as you can go, came through for you. Your big bats weren't useless, right? You had hits from Lee, Martinez, you had a couple from Venegas, and then, of course, Hernandez has the solo shot that really gives you a lot of life there. But it was the guys who've been there, done that took the lead in the first game. So now you've experienced, you've got a game under your belt, and now you feel like you can roll a little bit with that one down and a couple more to go.
What do you think the big takeaway from this game is going to be specifically?
I think it's grit. I really do. Which is such a general term, right? It's something that you throw around a lot, but this was gritty, right? It wasn't your typical win that we've seen so many times this year where the Wildcats come out and bang you for one good inning, right? They're putting up 5, they're putting up 6. They're smashing you, whether it's early on in the inning or in the game or in a later inning. They clawed back, right? It was 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. It was never a couple innings. It was never an outburst. It was, again, we talked about how this team has won in so many different ways. They've been able to win on the backs of great pitching. They've been able to win on the backs of unbelievable offense. Tonight, they kind of straddled that line a little bit, and they won a game they haven't done a lot, which is that back and forth and back and forth. And even when we've seen them do that at times, the USF game comes to mind, they've still needed big innings. They've needed to find somebody they could jump on. They never really jumped on anybody. They just did what had to be done in the moment. They made a couple of decisions here or there. You know, this could have been a little more lopsided if you were a little less aggressive, but that's not being true to who this team is, right? They've been aggressive all year. They stuck with it. And they came out with the win. I think the grit is the most important takeaway.
You mentioned the scoring, right? 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 1 in the seventh, 1 in the eighth. They never scored more than 2 runs in an inning. How many times have we said that about this team this year? Maybe never.
Right.
And I want to flip the switch and talk about the pitching, right? Edwin Sanchez didn't look good early, had a rough second inning. He got right back on his horse, got some help from his defense in the fourth, but shut him down, allowed just 2 hits after that inning, and the Wildcats were allowed to come back because of that excellent effort. He threw the most pitches he's thrown in a game this year, 115. Carlos Jasmin, man, nothing on 1 hit, a strikeout, a walk. He was what the Wildcats needed. Nothing flashy, didn't throw a bunch of strikeouts out there, but only walked 1 guy, only hit 1 guy as well, but he gave his defense easy ground balls and easy pop-ups and a chance to make plays, and that's all you want from a middle reliever.
Yeah, let me give credit first of all to those 2 guys. They did what needed to be done. Jasmin, really, again, outside of the first pitch he threw, was excellent. And Sanchez, once he settled in, was excellent as well. I want to almost give credit in many ways to a guy who made the trip, but we don't get to see this week, which sucks, in Tanner Bocabello, right? Because when we talked about it a little bit as we traveled around over the last day or so, and the value that he can still bring to the team as kind of that coach, right? And one of the things we talked about most about his year in particular is it wasn't as up to snuff as it was a year ago, but he found a way of settling in, right? He would allow 2 or 3, and you'd look up and say, oh, wow, this is brutal. This is not what we expect for a Friday night guy. Then you'd turn around by the end of the 7th or 8th, and you'd say, well, it wasn't so bad, right? It was a chance to settle down, just the 3 runs allowed, that sort of thing. It's very much that settle-in mentality. And I'd like to think from up here that he can give that same talk to Sanchez when he comes back in the dugout and say, hey, it might not have started great. It might look a little rough. Settle down. And by the end of it, we look up and we say 6 innings, 3 runs, or in this case, only 2 earned runs. Absolutely. Take it all day. You gave them everything they needed. You turn it over to 1 reliever, and you're looking really great for the rest of the week. So I give credit to the pitchers, the 2 arms that threw, Sanchez and Jasmin, the pitching staff. And then I like to think that Bocabello has a part in that as well. Just the mentality, the veteran leadership, It's really, really great way to start.
And definitely one of the things I'm going to ask Coach Hernandez when he gets up here. Stick around. This is the CatEye Network post-game show. The Wildcats win the first game of the SWAC tournament. They defeat the Texas Southern Tigers 5-3 in a really good contest. Texas Southern, we thought we might walk over them last weekend. They have fought in every single game with the exception of that one game where they couldn't get out of one inning. We scored 10 runs in an inning. That was kind of the end. But every other game's been close, been down to the wire. They have battled. And look out whoever they play tomorrow, either Alabama State or Jackson State, whoever loses the 3 p.m. game, they're not going to be an easy out.
Yeah, and I want to give credit again. We talked about it a little bit, whether it was on the podcast over the last week or so or on some of the broadcasts. Let's give credit to the people that up top, the coaches that rallied for it, the staff that ultimately made the decision in going over to one division. Because what we talked about coming into this week was there's really, unlike previous years where some of these West teams, we never knew what we were going to get because they just pounded on each other all year. And the pitching staffs were wild. Everybody was forced to come up. Water found its level, right? And the 8 teams that found their way in this thing deserved it and have been much more battle-tested than recent years. And Texas Southern's another one where, yeah, sure, they squeaked in. This is a really competitive team, a well-coached team. We know that. But they know how to win on different sides of the ball. They had enough pitching that they were very much in the game. They had the bats that got it when they needed to. And there's really no team that I look at in this whole thing that I'd say you walk over, right? I mean, Pine Bluff is super competitive. In past years, we may not have been able to say that about them. Even if Prairie View had made it, I think that we would have said the same thing about them. There's nobody that feels like they're down and out, like they're a walkover team. Give credit to the coaches, give credit to the staff that put us all in the one division and made us battle it out. It's fun, and I think this is the start of what's going to be a very good, very fun tournament for the SWAC this week.
I see Coach Hernandez making his way up to the booth, saying hi to the people in the crowd and all that. So we'll hear from him shortly. So Florida A&M and Southern coming up next. They're the opposite side of the bracket. We won't see whatever team comes out of that side till the finals, potentially. But give me your preview of Alabama State and Jackson State, because that may be the biggest heavyweight boxing fight of this first round.
Well, it's really going to start with the maturity for Alabama State, especially on the coaching side and some of the veteran players who've been around. They're the one I look at the most, and I fear on that side of it, which is they know what it takes to win. For Jackson State, they're going to be scrappy. They're going to run. They're going to be like a steroided version up of this Texas Southern team. They're a little more talented. Assuming Elliott goes, you're going to really great pitching match up on the mound for that one. But it's going to be another one that the gritty team is going to have to win. I favor Alabama State because of that experience, but I would not. Again, it's another one. I wouldn't put it past either side when it comes to taking that one.
Once again, the Wildcats win this one 5-3 in the opening round of the 2025 SWAC tournament here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm now joined on the Wildcat postgame show by Coach Johnny Hernandez. Coach, another come-from-behind win for you guys, and after the second inning, it didn't look like Sanchez was settled in. The defense was making some mistakes, but I want to turn to the turning point of the game, which was Sergio Rivera's terrific catch in right field to rob Texas Southern of 2 more runs. At that point, it would have made it 5-1. You're looking at a lot deeper hole. That changed the complexity of the game.
Yeah, when you get to this point, it's about pitching and defense, right? And, Sergio made a really good play out there in right field to, have them not get the momentum, like you alluded to, possibly scoring 2 runs. So just a great job with our guys. We got to get better, though. We had 2 situations to get bunts down, and we didn't. And right, the bigger the game, the bigger the bunt. So, just a good job, just a gritty win. And it's, I'm just looking forward to the guys getting some rest and right back tomorrow.
That's the word that Bryce used when we were reviewing the game before we got up here, grit. That's the big takeaway from this one. I'd want to talk about the base running because you were very aggressive running the base. I mean, you tied the game on a steal of home that was overturned after a review, but double steals, sending guys on balls to the outfield. What was the theory coming into the game?
I think it's just right putting pressure on the defense, and I think in that situation, Coach CatEye actually kind of waved me over, and we saw something in the left-handed arm, where we had an opportunity. Figgy was at third to extend a little bit with the left-handed arm on the mound, and then if he picked it first, and we had enough time to be able to, score or steal a run. So, again, it's what we've talked about all year. Everyone's concentrated on the long ball, but our offense is not one-dimensional, right? We can play fast, we can hit the double, we can hit the home run. So just overall pleased with the effort of our guys.
Talk about Irvin Escobar, another great game for him. 3 hits, an RBI, a run scored. He seems to do this every time the calendar flips to May. Irvin Escobar goes in superhero mode, and you just can't get him out. What does he mean to this team?
So much, man. A guy that's been with our program, for 5 years, along him with Yoanso Diaz. But, again, we opted out, and he could have had an opportunity to leave, but he believed in the process. He trusted, us with his, athletic career. Man, there's no better way than having a guy come out as clutch as Irvin has had in the postseason in years past, and case in point today with 3 hits.
Talk about the pitching. I mentioned Edwin Sanchez didn't start great, but settled down, went longer than he ever has this season, over 115 pitches. What was the theory about leaving him out there, and also Jasmin out of the bullpen looked good?
Yeah, I mean, at that situation when we finished the 5th inning, he didn't even hesitate. He's, telling me, hey, give me one more, give me one more, give me one more. And I think that he's earned that right to be able to be put in that situation. Jasmin has been the hot hand the last couple of weeks. He's really been, a force to deal with in the bullpen, man. And we just used 2 arms today, which is great. But now it's get back to the hotel, rest up, and get ready for a big one tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, you're either playing Jackson State or Alabama State, 2 teams that have given you a little bit of issues in the past in the postseason. What are you looking for in that matchup?
Well, first of all, those are 2 really good baseball programs, and I have a ton of respect for both Coach Johnson at Jackson State and Coach Vasquez at Alabama State. For us, we got to just play our game. We have to pitch, we have to defend, and when the opportunities present themselves, to move guys over, then we have to be able to do that. I think today situational hitting was a little bit better than what it's been, the last couple of weeks or so. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing and keep the main thing, and worry about us, not worry about anybody else.
Congratulations, Coach. Great win. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. Hey, Wildcats.
Once again, the Wildcats take Game 1 of the 2025 SWAC tournament here in Birmingham, Alabama. They win it 5-3. Bethune-Cookman, 5 runs on 11 hits, committed 1 error, and left 7 on base. Texas Southern, 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. I want to mention again, we have played this team 4 times in the last week. They've committed 1 error in those 4 games. It's kind of wild. But Texas Southern stranded 7 on base. The winning pitcher is Carlos Jasmin. His record is now 2-1. James Malone comes in and takes the loss. His record now 3-3. There was no save. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 35 minutes. The Wildcats await the winner of Alabama State and Jackson State. That game coming up today at 3. The Wildcats will play tomorrow at 3 against the winner of that contest. Bryce, will talk about it in pregame tomorrow. We'll talk about it ad nauseum throughout the broadcast tomorrow, I'm sure. But just give a little preview about how much this next game means from a tournament perspective. Because if you win tomorrow, you're in the finals and you get a day off.
Oh, man, nobody knows that better than Coach Hernandez. I don't know if you guys talked about it or not. I was trying to catch the putting the name on the board. That's this thing everybody does on social media nowadays when you're moving on. But nobody knows it better than Coach when it comes to how hard it is to win this thing. If you get caught in that loser's bracket, you're playing doubleheaders, potentially multiple doubleheaders. You're running on fumes. You're playing these hungry teams that are just trying to stay around. He told it to us before coming into this whole thing. He said, we are going to go for it. We are not going to mess around and throw off, which is why, in many ways, we thought Jasmin coming in was a little bit at the time, right, when it happened. You say, well, is it really your best option? It proved that was right, and that he's earned his place as one of those back-end type guys. So I credit to him for that. But that's when we were a little bit wary of that, because you really want to stay. I mean, you're talking about potentially going from playing 4 games max to 7. And it is ridiculous, the turnaround. Not to mention you'd be right back here at 9 a.m. It comes with a whole host of problems. And if you stay in that winner's bracket, it really, whoever comes through in that one, we saw it the same way in softball just this year and every other year, it tends to be the one that comes out of it. Because even all the way down at the very end of it, right, if you make it all the way through and you get matched up with the team that comes out of the loser bracket, you can lose a game and still win the thing. That's exactly what happened in softball this year. That's what happened when the Wildcats, that's what happened a couple years ago in this thing. Not the year that BCU and FAM played, because they both came out of the losers bracket. But it's a tall hill to climb. And again, I'll say it again, nobody knows that better than the man in charge of this team, and he is going to make sure that they know that.
Once again, the Wildcats win it 5-3 over Texas Southern. They advance to the winner's bracket semifinals against either Alabama State or Jackson State. That'll do it from Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. For Bryce Hoynowski and Brian Harvey and our entire Wildcat crew, my name is Michael Turillo. Thank you so much. We'll be on your airwaves tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on the CatEye Network, and also 1380 WELE Daytona Beach on local radio as well. We'll talk to you then, and as always, hey, Wildcats.